We expect all individuals to act respectably and ethically, as each Enagic distributor should, by refraining from violating copyright laws. My Kangen tools will seek all legal remedies against those who violate copyright laws by copying all or any portion of this DVD or its contents. A recent headline in USA Today read, "Consumer unease with U.S. healthcare grows." And it's no wonder. Americans are rapidly becoming the heaviest people on Earth, with overweight Americans now significantly outnumbering those who maintain a healthy weight. 61% of Americans are overweight. Americans pay more for our healthcare than any other country in the world, paying out over $1 trillion in 1997. Healthcare costs are spiraling so quickly that the Healthcare Financing Administration predicts that by 2030, Americans will pay over $16 trillion per year. Recently, the World Health Organization ranked the U.S. 37th best in the world in healthcare system performance. 60 million Americans suffer from some form of cardiovascular disease. According to the World Health Organization, 303 million people worldwide suffer from migraines. 1 out of 13 Americans now has diabetes, and the numbers are still rising. 60 million people a month have heartburn.
Well, for the last 9 years of my life, I've been suffering from Crohn's. I was 10 years old when I started having symptoms, which is blood in my stools. I didn't know what it was. I've been to numerous doctors throughout the 9 years of my life that I've had it. I have been on numerous medications, Asacol, Colazol, and each doctor that I've seen has told me that I needed to take 9 pills a day. And once I figured that out, I mean, in my head, 9 pills a day, that's a lot. And I started worrying, what is it doing to my liver? What is it doing to my body? My parents didn't know what to do, so they just said, take your medicine. That's what the doctors say.
I have experienced migraines for over 4 years. I've had 6 different doctors, 2 different neurologists, and finally went to a pain clinic. Throughout the last 4 years, I've had multiple shots and surgeries and, like I say, many different types of drugs. It got to a point where I couldn't do anything at all. I was pretty much stuck in bed 24/7.
In January 2006, I had a quadruple bypass. And it turned out I had diabetes and didn't know it. I'd been taking Nexium for about 10 years at that point. Had a sleep disorder I was taking medication for. And I weighed about 275 pounds. They put me on high blood pressure medications and Lipitor and all sorts of things. And I talked to the doctor. He said I could expect to be on this stuff for the rest of my life.
I've had a long bout with fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue for over 15 years. My health would get better with supplementation and some alkalizing products. I was seeing some results, but with stress and just everything that comes at you through life itself, I couldn't get above water. I would just feel like I was drowning in a sea of no hope.
A 35-year-old Japanese company is trying to make sure that you don't end up being one of these statistics. Enagic is using a technology that turns ordinary tap water into what many are calling magic water. They do this with continuous ionized electrolysis water generating systems. These truly remarkable machines have been certified by the Japanese Ministry of Health, Labor and Welfare as a medical device and are used in most hospitals and clinics in Japan. They are also endorsed by the prestigious Japanese Association of Preventive Medicine for Adult Diseases and are the only company with an endorsement from this group of medical doctors. Water makes up 70 to 90% of the human body, including 95% of blood plasma. Many health authorities recognize that dehydration is one of the most common causes of illness. Chronic dehydration is often part of a chronic disease process.
3 months ago, my parents brought home this KangenWater, which we call magic water, and I started drinking it. My parents did not know that I started to do this, but I didn't take my medicine. I started drinking it and I stopped my medicine. No more 9 pills a day, just dropped it. I wanted to see if it would actually work. And lo and behold, it did. I have no more blood in my stool. I've been on the water now for about 3-4 months.
By the 3rd or 4th day, I experienced where I wasn't having horrible migraines. So then I just, said, oh, it's just the spinal cord stimulator that's working. It's not the water. Well, I got a little brave and turned off my spinal cord stimulator, and amazingly enough, I didn't have migraines. A week went by, I still didn't have migraines, and I guess it was about a month later that we finally bought our machine. And it's amazing to me that this water can do anything. It fixes everything. Our health is so much better. My health is so much better. And I'm happy to say that over the last 30 days, I just had surgery to take out the spinal cord stimulator.
I bought a 501 machine, September, and by October, pardon me for getting choked up. My diabetes was gone. Blood pressure normal. And my knee healed itself. And I got off of all my medications. My energy levels have gone up through the roof. My constipation's gone. My hemorrhoids are gone.
My fibromyalgia is so much better. The chronic fatigue, I danced a month ago at my daughter's military ball. I was up there longer than some teenagers, that's amazing. The acid reflux, it took about 4 or 5 months. It wasn't gone like some people say theirs has. Just being able to experience life and not be a recluse in a cave anymore is just awesome.
The body has a truly remarkable and complicated water regulating system that rations water when it's in short supply, until it receives unmistakable signals that it has access to an adequate supply. The problem is that some organs, like the brain, are higher on the priority list for water than others. Symptoms are the result of stressed organs that are dehydrated. This is much the same type of signal your car would give if the cooling system were overheating while climbing a steep hill. In both cases, if proper measures are not taken, a breakdown can occur.
Well, most people know that the human body is about 75% water. And one of the ways I like to explain that and put it in perspective for the average person is to say that we take that 10 gallons of water out of a 150-pound person and we dump it into a fish tank. And when you put it in a fish tank, you add your fish, and then you have to start feeding the fish. So we're going to dump our fish food in the top. We're going to let the fish swim over and eat the fish food, and then they're going to digest that food and use it for energy, and then they're going to put the waste back out into the water. And what happens is over time, the fish keep doing that process. We keep feeding them, they keep eating, they keep pooping, and pretty soon that water gets really dirty. Now, most of us know that when the fish start to get sick, something has to happen. So we have to change the water. The cells in the body are just like that, just like the fish, in that they too are fed by the water that they swim around in or are bathed by. We call it interstitial fluid. And that water basically has to be carrying in the food, carrying in the oxygen to each individual cell, and it helps carry it through the cell wall, just like the fish has to get on the inside, and it's metabolized, and then the waste are expelled back out into the interstitial fluid, or the fish tank if you want to think of it that way. And the secret to health is the efficiency at which you do that process, taking the good things in, getting rid of the bad things.
When asked how much water they drink each day, most people answer, not enough. We know that we should drink more water, but most of us don't make it a high enough priority. In fact, many people are confused as to how much water a person is supposed to drink.
Mainly a lot of patients that come in, they have a lot of constipation problems, and it's because they don't drink water. And so it's very common when they come in. A lot of times they haven't had a bowel movement, sometimes only once a month, and that's hard to believe, how they've gone that long, but we see it all the time. And then I ask them, well, how much water do you drink? Well, maybe a glass, a day, maybe a glass of water a week. I drink a lot of tea, coffee, things like that, which is diuretic, so that makes them more constipated.
Most doctors will tell you that we should drink 8 8-ounce glasses of water per day. But is it a one-size-fits-all answer? Common sense would indicate that a 250-pound person would need more water to maintain their 75% hydration level than a 125-pound person. And what about someone who is very physically active or someone who works in a hot climate versus a person that is sedentary and perhaps stays indoors the majority of the time?
Think of the last time that you went out and exercised really hard. Maybe it was intentional at the gym, maybe it was unintentional, maybe you just went for a hike with some friends and got into a more serious hike than you intended. Think back to how you felt the next morning after that physical exertion. And many of you will relate to the person who could hardly roll out of bed. The muscles were screaming, everything hurt. And the reason for that is pain and inflammation, and that's caused by an accumulation of lactic acid and other metabolic wastes. The body was not able to eliminate those as quickly as they were being produced. So the end result is you don't feel good. End result is you're sick and you're stiff and you have joint and muscle inflammation, and life is not fun. Now, depending on how efficient your body is over time at getting rid of those depends on how long it takes you to recover from that exertion. And one of the neat things is by putting the best water in the body and the best fuels in the body, we can recover from that process very quickly and very efficiently.
So my experience with the Kangen alkaline water was actually pretty amazing. My husband came to me a day before my triathlon race, and he recommended that I drink the water. And I said, water's just water. And he said, just try it. So myself and 2 of my friends tried the water the day before the race and during the race. And I didn't prepare as well as I should have or could have, but I did drink the water. We all had our best race times. We were so impressed. We had less fatigue. Muscle soreness was almost nothing. Usually after a race, I'll come home and I want to sleep. We actually went to dinner and we had a full day playing with the dogs in the park, so it was really amazing that water is just not water.
Many healthcare experts now recommend that you drink a minimum of 1/2 of your total body weight in ounces of water each day. One reason that people don't drink enough water is that all too often water just doesn't taste very good, so we drink other beverages instead of plain water. Unfortunately, many of these beverages are polluting our internal environment and reducing our body's thirst mechanism in the process. And then there's the problem of how clean and safe the water is to drink. It seems that every few days we hear about another pollutant being found in our water. Chemicals are being put into the water supply by the water treatment facilities across the nation, most of which are not good for us. Then we learn that every time someone takes a pharmaceutical or flushes unused drugs down the toilet, they end up in our water supply as well. This problem has led to one of the largest new industries in America, the bottled water industry, which raked in $12 billion in 2007. In 1990, Americans bought 2.2 billion gallons of bottled water. Last year, we consumed 8.8 billion gallons, an increase of more than 300%. Industry experts point out a number of factors for this increase: the convenience it brings to our mobile society, our healthier habits and healthier lifestyles, and the perception that bottled water is safer and tastier than tap water. But is the water in those bottles really healthy to drink? Let's take a look at just one company to see what's happening in this growing industry. Coca-Cola has 30 plants across America bottling their Dasani water. The source of this water is the local municipality. And for your information, the FDA does not require that purified or bottled water have the source of the water listed on the label. It takes about 72 billion gallons of water a year worldwide just to make the empty bottles. The energy used each year making the bottles needed to meet the demand for bottled water in the United States alone is equivalent to more than 17 million barrels of oil. That's enough to fuel over 1 million cars for a year. This filtered water is then placed into plastic bottles and shipped all around the world. But even if this were the answer to our drinking water problem, it just created another major problem: plastic bottles overrunning the landfills of our nation. The bottling companies want us to believe bottled water is the answer to our water problem so that we will continue to buy it. Bottled water has now become the second largest beverage segment behind soft drinks. In 2003, the California Department of Conservation estimated that roughly 3 million water bottles are trashed every day in that state. At this rate, by 2013, the amount of unrecycled bottles will be enough to create a 2-lane highway that stretches the state's entire coast. Bottling companies are even trying to make consumers believe by having the word water on the label somehow makes it good for you. Vitamin water is the worst health drink. Filtered bottled water is considered dead water by the Japanese and is also potentially full of organochlorines and other chemicals from the plastic containers it is sold in. Consider that fish don't do well in reverse osmosis or distilled water, and neither do your cells. Every person wants to feel better and have more energy, no matter how fit or unfit they are. This Japanese company, Enagic Incorporated, has discovered what many scientists are now telling us: the quality and quantity of water that we put into our body is extremely important for the peak performance and health we are all looking for to enhance our lives. We know that clean water is important, but researchers are now saying that there are additional traits to the best water for us to drink.
Luckily for us, there is a company now making a machine that will make the perfect water. And it helps our body act and operate in a more efficient manner. It carries that fuel and oxygen into the cell more efficiently, it carries the waste out of the cell more efficiently, and it just lets us function better.
Researchers have discovered that the most consistent trait of long-lived clusters of healthy people on the planet is the water that they drink.
Nature actually makes water in a couple of different ways, and we have rain falling out of the sky, and we also have the accumulation of snow high in the mountains. And we found from research that the most important water and the best water for all living organisms is that water that comes from the glacier and the snowmelt high in the mountains. And scientists have now been able to tell that there's a difference in the structure of water. The difference is really two things. There's a 5-sided or a pentagonal structure, and there is a 6-sided or hexagonal structure. And the 6-sided structure, many people call microclustered. The reason for that is because it tends to be clumped together in 3 to 5 molecules, where the 5-sided structures tend to clump between 15 and 100 molecules. And so the water doesn't break down as well. The surface tension is much higher.
In his book, The Water Puzzle and the Hexagonal Key, Mu Shixan, PhD, and one of the foremost water authorities in the world, states, hexagonal water is energetically more powerful. It is the obvious biological choice. Hexagonal water moves easily within the cellular matrix of the body, helping with nutrient absorption and waste removal.
Last August, I was in a wheelchair due to knee pain, needing knee replacements. My knee pain had gotten so severe over 2 years, and my quality of life had virtually ended. A friend of mine told me about the KangenWater in September, and I ordered a machine. And the first thing that happened was in the first 2 days, all of a sudden 10 pounds just melted off my body. Well, that was pretty exciting. Day 1 to 9, no changes happened in my pain, but I woke up on day 10 pain-free, and a week later, I'm pain-free. And it's 6 months later, I'm pain-free. I can walk out of my house and I have my life back.
I ended up in the hospital for about 3 weeks. Around the clock, 24 hours a day, I had a 1-hour IV drip for 2 weeks before I got out of there. When I got out of there, my leg was still swelling from time to time. My blood sugar was still erratic. I was still having major problems with weight control. And then a year later, friends of ours brought us this water to try, and what happened was those symptoms that were staying with me, that were bugging me, even though I was there treating other patients, they still bugged me, right? Started to resent. They started to reverse. I started losing weight. The circulation came back to my leg. My leg didn't swell as much. I started seeing results in me.
So how can we drink this wonderful water? About 40 years ago, Russian scientists discovered that by running water past magnetically charged plates, they could separate the water into 2 streams, one that is alkaline and one that is acidic. This process is called ionization. The Japanese have improved upon this process so that it's now possible to turn tap water into living, highly energized alkaline water. This water is also high in antioxidants to slow down the aging process while increasing the oxygen available to the body. In its natural, healthy state, the human body is slightly alkaline. Those who are able to maintain this alkaline state experience increased physical vitality and stamina, enhanced mental clarity and acuity, increased ability to get along with other people, increased optimism and vision, hastened recovery from illness, injury, allergies, trauma, and increased resistance to illness.
Personally, I've had acid reflux, and drinking alkaline water for the past year, I have no discomfort from acid reflux. I sleep like a baby at night, and I go every time I eat. Therefore, my colon is clean.
As for myself, I was pretty healthy prior to changing the water, but I have experienced increased energy and less leg fatigue by drinking the water. And despite the fact that I wash my hands frequently throughout the day, being in the medical field, you have to do that, and also the fact that I'm exposed to a lot of disinfectants that we use on our medical equipment, my skin has not been as dry. My skin has been a lot softer this year as compared to last year when I had severe dryness, which led to very painful, cracked, and sometimes bleeding hands.
Oxidation is the rust on a pipe or the breakdown that occurs when you cut an apple and it turns brown. Oxidation is also called aging. Antioxidants slow down or stop that process and are found in many fruits and vegetables from Mother Nature. Hexagonal KangenWater has 3 to 8 times the antioxidants of green tea. The Japanese call this KangenWater. Kangen translates to return to origin.
In the early 90s, I had the chance to go to Japan and see the technology that we're talking about used in clinical applications in hospital settings. And I saw some things that made me stand back and really evaluate some of the things I'd been taught about medicine and health. And I saw water doing things there that blew my mind. And as a result of that trip and seeing some of those miracles with people who had things like eczema and psoriasis and diabetes and neuropathy, I came back with a strong desire to get one of these machines and have the water available to use in my clinic and to share with my patients and friends and family and myself. And so I came back and I bought a water ionizer, and I have to be honest, I was very disappointed in the results. I gave a lot of water away and people just didn't notice any difference, and I really couldn't say that I did either. treating some of the people with those terrible skin conditions, even acne. It didn't seem like the water was making any difference. So I knew that at that point that ionizers were not all created equally. So that began a search for me and a journey of looking for and finding the best ionizer out there that would accomplish what I wanted it to accomplish to help the most people with the most health challenges. So as a result of that journey, I have gone from one machine to another. I've actually, over the last several years, purchased I've purchased 7 water ionizers from different manufacturers. And I will say some work a little bit better than others, but none really, truly did for my patients and myself what I expected. So I was a little bit disheartened actually, and I thought, well, they just must have something really special in these machines that are made for the hospitals and the clinics and on a big scale, and we just can't get those in a consumer-sized version here in the United States. But in July of 2006, I was invited to a meeting that was a celebration actually that was being done by a company called Enagic, and went to Los Angeles, California, met the president of the company there, Mr. Oshiro, and although I wasn't able to understand everything that was being said in Japanese because the meeting was in Japanese, I tried the water and I knew there was something special about that water. I could taste it, I could see the difference, I could feel the difference in my body. And after drinking the water, I slept more sound than I had in a long time. I have to be honest with you, I've never had a lot of health conditions and or challenges, but I slept better and I woke up with less sleep, feeling fully rested and energized, and I had even more energy than normal. And that got me excited. So I bought a machine that following day and got one in my clinic and started giving water away. And I have to tell you, it's just been an absolute miracle what I've seen since. Patients are coming in and getting water. They're bringing their friends in, they're bringing in their family, and they're taking water home and drinking it, and they're coming back and saying, I got to have some more magic water. And when you ask them what they're noticing, everything from I see I'm using less insulin if they're diabetic, I'm having less pain, I have better sleep, I'm not as depressed, I'm not as anxious. The things they're telling me is absolutely phenomenal. And I've come to realize just how important this foundational part of our body really is. You know, we are 75% water, and we overlook it, we take it for granted. And as I see the changes occurring in patients, what I'm coming to realize more and more every day is that the water is the key. All the other things are secondary. The water is in nature the greatest solvent. The water is the solution in which all chemical reactions take place in the body. The water is the foundation, and as people drink it, amazing things take place inside their body.
These amazing machines don't just produce water for drinking, but also water is used to clean and disinfect your home. You can clean your floors, carpets, toilets, showers, and countertops. You can use it to get rid of a stain on clothing or to wash your clothes in the washing machine. It also makes a beauty water for the skin that will rival the most expensive lines of beauty products. It produces a water to clean and disinfect your food. People are amazed at all the things you can do around the house with ionized water.
Rather than grab one more pill or one more medicine or one more herb or one more anything, you know, maybe stop and think about, what could I do if I just drank a little bit more water? And particularly the right water, because it does make a big difference.
Drink KangenWater and experience the difference for yourself.
Putting this wonderful water in your body absolutely is one of the best preventive maintenance things that I personally know of, and I recommend it to everybody that I talk to.
Now we're going to show you exactly what we've been talking about with all the different drinks that we typically would put into our bodies. What we've got before us are a whole bunch of the drinks that we would typically see in most grocery stores, restaurants, or in most fridges across America. What we're going to do here is we're going to make up some of our 9.5 Kangen water. And as we're doing that, we'll talk about some of these other waters that are on the counter and other drinks. We've got Dasani and Aquafina, of course, two popular bottles of water. Coke and Pepsi's #1 sellers. We've got Propel or Gatorade. We've got Sprite. And then we have that new vitamin water that everybody's been talking about. So now that we've got a whole glass here of our 9.5 water, we'll just set that right here. And let's take a little look at these. First, we'll get the Sprite opened up. I'm going to pour a little bit in the glass. Now Sprite, a lot of the moms out there, they give Sprite to their kids when the kids aren't feeling well, but I think after today, you may not want to do that anymore. The next one here is the Propel, the Gatorade. We're using all clear drinks today because when we go ahead and put in the pH drops, which we're going to use pH test drops that actually will color the water, and you're going to be able to see what the pH of these various drinks are. Here's our first reverse osmosis water. This is Dasani. Now reverse osmosis in Japan, they actually call this dead water because there's actually nothing good in this water for you. In fact, the actual process actually takes everything out of the water, all the minerals and everything, and that's actually why it tastes somewhat decent. But I think you'll find that after today, you don't want to be drinking this water anymore because it just doesn't give you the ability to get the nutrients from the various things that we're putting into our bodies. Now we've got our Kangen water, our 9.5, and we'll go ahead and pour this. Put that right there. And then the last glass, this is going to be tap water. So we'll just go ahead and just leave this on tap. We'll go ahead and fill up a glass of tap water there. Now, the first thing I want to do is I actually want to show you what is the ORP. We've talked a little bit about ORP. And what ORP is that is the oxidation reduction potential. Now, Dr. Carpenter just talked about the apple, when you cut it, it turns brown and it oxidizes. And the number that we're looking for a negative number. Any negative number means that it's an antioxidant. A positive number means that it's actually oxidating on your body. So let's go ahead and test. Actually, before we do this, what I want to do is I need to get ourselves a cup of clean water. We're going to get some clean water, and we can actually do this on the machine. We just set it to clean water. Go ahead and turn this on, and we're going to run just some 7.0 pH clean water, and I'm going to actually dip the wand of the ORP meter in this between each one so we don't contaminate any of our tests here. So we'll go ahead and set this right here, and we'll bring the meter over here. So let's see. I'll go ahead and clean that off now. And when we get our first one, let's go ahead and see what that reading is right there. We've got about a positive 363. We'll go ahead and go into the next one here. Let's get that all cleaned off. We'll bring that right there. And let's see, what are we getting there for a reading? A positive, what, 292? Pretty good, 296. I think we're going to go over 300. So we'll go ahead and we'll go to the next one there. Now remember, these are positive numbers. We're looking for a negative number. So this means that all of these are actually oxidizing substances to our bodies. So we'll go ahead and we'll go in here to the vitamin water. And we've got what? A positive 214. We'll go ahead and put that back in the clean water. Now we'll get over here into the Dasani and we'll see where the Dasani registers. Now the Dasani is a positive 100, 168, 172. As you can see, it's continuing to climb. We're going to be over 200 here in a moment. That's going to continue to go up. We'll go ahead and just clean that one off. And we'll come back here and we'll check the Aquafina. The Aquafina, we've got a positive, look, it looks like about 150 thus far. It's going to keep on going. We're up to about 180, and I think as we sit and watch it, it's going to be the same as the Dasani. It'll continue to climb to over 200. We'll go ahead and bring this over. In fact, I'm going to skip and come right over to the tap water. and we'll come back and do our Kangen water. Now the tap water has a positive 300, what is that number now? 325, 334, over 350. I think we'll find that'll continue to climb to well over 400. And as we sit and watch that go, I think you're going to see that it will. So we'll go ahead and we'll move on to the next. We're going to come back now and let's see what the Kangen water, the 9.5. Go ahead and put this in here. Now what we're looking for here is a negative number, and I think you can see right now we are at a minus 349, minus 350. You know, we're riding right around the 349, 350. So minus 350, that is a huge change. When we go ahead and look at that, that is, we're going to get this put away. That's amazing. That's a huge difference. If you want to put an antioxidant into your body, in fact a liquid antioxidant, you know, this is exactly the source, is the Kangen water, the 9.5. Okay, now let's go ahead and test the pH of each of these drinks. Now the pH is done where we use actually pH test drops. And these test drops are actually the same drops that you would use to test the pH in a pool. And we're just going to put 4 drops into each of these glasses. Now the pH scale ranges from 0 to 14. And what you want is you want to be on the high side. You want to be as high as you can get. You don't want to be on the low side. So we're going to go ahead here. We're going to stir these up. And we're going to stir up this first one here, the Sprite. And you can see on the, basically on the low side of the pH scale, you've got very, very, you know, an orangish color, which is what you don't want. You get into here to the vitamin water. I thought vitamin water was supposed to be good for you. Well, it's got a very low pH to it. We get in here to the reverse osmosis waters. This surprises a lot of people when they actually see this reverse osmosis water. You know, you go to the store and you buy these bottles and you think that it's really good for you, but yet you can see it just doesn't have that much of a pH value. Now this last glass, this is the tap water. Now this tap water here is, it's blue. And some people get excited about that because actually the pH value of this compared to all these other drinks is much better. Much better. But what they don't tell you is that the federal government mandates that tap water be at least 7.0 in pH. And so because of that, they use various chemicals, lyes, and anything they have to put into that water to get it to go to here. In fact, a lot of times when you filter this water, you will actually see that the pH values come back to this range once some of those chemicals are filtered out. So let's see what happens when we actually take some of our 9.5 water here and we just mix a little bit of it right in. Look what we just did to that tap water. We changed that tap water and we took it from an acidic, or actually it was a somewhat neutral state, to a very alkaline state. We're going to do the same thing over here to the Aquafina, and it very quickly turns purple. You can see that. Here we go again. We're going to get it to go purple just by mixing in some of our water. Now these other 3 over here, I actually want to, I want to go ahead and use our water, our 9.5 water, and I'm going to pour it directly in. Now watch what happens when we do this. Isn't that amazing? We're not getting any color change at all. In fact, if I go over here, we're not going to get any color change in either of these drinks. They are so acidic that it's actually going to take anywhere from 25, 30 cups of our water, of 9.5 pH water, when we mix it into these other waters, or these other drinks, to actually get it to go neutral. In fact, I'm going to show you that because this is so potent. I mean, look at this soda here. This soda is so potent that if we just take a tiny bit and put it right into one of these cups, it immediately takes away the alkalinity of these. I mean, take a look at that. It is just, it's absolutely gone. And so very, very quickly you can take an alkaline substance and turn it into a very acidic substance. I want to clear these out of the way here. Just put those there. Get these out of the way. And now, something very interesting. Dr. Carpenter mentions that the body is a lot like a fish tank. And when you look at that fish tank, he said that an average 150-pound person has 10 gallons of water in their body. So what I want to do is I want to actually have this picture represent your body. And so we're going to go ahead and we're going to fill this up here with our 9.5 water. And this is going to take a moment here. But basically, as Dr. Carpenter said, the body is a lot like this fish tank, and we've got to change the water in the fish tank in order to get ourselves healthy, because as that water starts to get dirty, if we don't do something with it, we're going to be in trouble. So what we're doing here is I'm going to fill this up to represent the body, and we'll get this pitcher about halfway full. Just bring it right over here. We're going to take some more test drops. We'll just put a whole bunch of them in there. And we'll give this a nice stir. Now that picture there is representing that nice, perfect alkaline body. Now it's pretty hard to stay completely alkaline because most things that we do, whether it's the food we eat, the stress, driving down the road, whatever it is, it causes our body to create acid. And you want to get yourself to this alkaline state. So let's just imagine that we did everything right. We had no stress in our life and everything was perfect. And so here is that body of water that we have. And let's say somebody grabs a soda. And they, one of these sodas here, it's funny because this little 20 ounce or 16.9 ounce soda has 2 servings. I don't know anybody that drinks this soda in 2 different servings, but we're just going to go ahead and say, let's just say we just had a little sip. So we're just going to take this little cap, which it takes about 5 of these caps to make an ounce. And we're just going to take that one little cap, we'll put that in there, and let's just stir this up and see what happens. We had this nice purple, which is that high 9.5 alkalinity, and look what that one cap did. It already has taken us down to somewhat neutral. In fact, it's still getting lighter. Let's just go ahead and we're just going to put one more cap in here. And who drinks a little sip of soda like that? I don't know too many people, but look what just happened. Look what just happened to that body. Now, if that represents our body, we've just taken ourselves from a very alkaline state and we've made ourselves extremely acidic with 2 tiny little caps of soda. 2 tiny caps of soda. And we're using Sprite because it's clear, but any soda, this represents all the different sodas that you would drink. And we can try really hard to actually change the alkalinity of this water. I mean, look at this. We can try and we can try, but watch what happens. As this sits here and we put all that in there and we got it to go, but it just goes right back. It just goes right back. So it's really hard on your body when you keep putting all these acidic things into it when you're trying to catch it back up. And so the best thing to do is to avoid them completely and start drinking Kangen water. Start drinking as much of this water as you can drink, working yourself up from at least 1 ounce for half your pounds in body weight. So if you're a 200-pound person, you'd want to start with 100 ounces, which is a little over 3 quarts. That's a great place to start. You want to work yourself up to 3/4 of an ounce per pound, and that's really where you want to be. But I mean, this is just, it's unbelievable what starts to happen to your body. So we'll go ahead and put this over here in the sink. Now, I want to show you one more thing here that is really, really cool. This machine does a number of things, and by looking at the front of it, you could probably tell there's a whole bunch of other waters that our machine makes. And one of the waters is actually an 11.5 water that will clean. It will clean like nothing you have ever seen before. So let's go ahead now. I'm going to take some tomatoes. These are right on the vine. We're just going to take these tomatoes right out of the package here. Let's see. Let's pull this vine right out. I'm just going to put these right in. There we go. These are tomatoes that we just bought down at the local grocery store. And typically, we take our fruits and our vegetables and we wash them, but we usually wash them right under the sink. That's what we've been taught. You wash them under the sink. But today, we're actually going to use our cleaning water. Now, in this jug, we have an 11.5 pH water that comes out of the machine when we come over here and we set it at the 2.5 setting. We actually make an 11.5 water. And just to show you what it looks like any other ordinary water. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go ahead and fill that first cup up. Just pour that right there. And now for the second tomato cup, what we're going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and use just some regular bottled water, because I think a lot of us are starting to learn. I mean, it doesn't take a genius to see what's being talked about in the news, all the different chemicals that we're finding in our tap water. And so now let's remember that this one on the left, we're going to set this right here. In fact, I'm going to put this jug right here so we remember. And this one on the right is the Dasani. We're just going to let those sit. Let's give them each a little stir. And we're just going to let those sit here for a few minutes, and then we will come back to them. There we go. This cleaning water, you can actually clean your laundry with this. You can clean spots on carpet, in your clothes. It's an impressive water, and I think as you start to use it, you'll find you can use it for all sorts of things around the house. Now, the next property that Dr. Carpenter discussed is the microclustering property. And the microclustering property of our water it's fantastic. So what I want to show you here is this water's ability to actually take nutrients and actually grab those nutrients and do something with them. So what I've got here is I've just got some Stash Premium Green Tea, just your average green tea that comes from the grocery store. We'll just get these opened up. We're going to let these in here like so. And let's see, we'll go ahead, we'll use Aquafina. Now we're going to make tea, or attempt to make tea, with a water that is not, it's not hot. We're not going to allow this to steep. It's just a room temperature water. And now I want to make some tea with our 9.5 water. So we're going to go ahead and run us here another quart of our 9.5 water. We're going to give that first tea just a little bit of time. We're going to let it attempt to make tea from that reverse osmosis water. Remember what we talked about. Reverse osmosis water is what the Japanese call a dead water. It doesn't have any minerals in it at all. And in fact, when you put that water into your body, it can actually deprive your body of some of the essential minerals and nutrients that it has in it, because water, like anything, will balance itself out when it goes into your body. So now we'll just go ahead and take this cup here, and we're going to pour a cup of tea with our water. And I think you already see what is happening here. We have got tea. What I want to do is I want to give this one a little spin. We'll give this one just a little spin here. We'll just stop. Look at that. You've got two different cups here, same tea bags. One is obviously having a hard time making anything, and you've got this one here which looks like a perfectly good cup of tea. Now what's amazing about the microclustering properties is it actually will multiply the amount of nutrients that you're putting into your body and actually enable your body to use those nutrients. So as I slide this next tea bag over, watch what's going to happen. I can take this tea bag now and I can come over here and I can make another cup of tea. How about that? I mean, this property alone is amazing. For folks out there that like to drink coffee, you can go ahead and make your coffee, and you can use about half the coffee beans that you would normally use and get just as good a cup of coffee. And look at this. There's another cup. I think we could go on and on here and make anywhere from 15, 20, 25 cups of tea off of one tea bag. And there's actually nothing wrong with this at all. This is a fantastic tea, and it tastes exactly like green tea should taste, and yet it's just regular room temperature water. Let's come back over here to this little guy and let's see what's going on here. He's having a hard time getting started. I don't know too many people that would actually want to drink that cup of tea, but take a little look though. I don't think there was anything wrong with the tea bag. The problem was the water. So if you change your water, you're going to actually be able to, think of what you could do with just the cost of tea alone. You could go buy your expensive tea and make cup after cup after cup. But the ability that this has is if you take supplements, if you take vitamins or any herbs, as you put them into your body will actually be able to absorb all those nutrients. Most of the vitamins that we put into our bodies actually go through our bodies, and we don't even absorb them at all, because it's a lot like this reverse osmosis water. We've allowed our bodies to get to that state to where it can't even accept that nutrition. And we need to put this 9.5 water into our bodies to allow that to happen. So you can make tea all day long off one tea bag. We'll get these out of the way. Now, as we just discussed, the actual cleaning properties of this water is quite important because typically, you know, when we go out and buy our fruits and vegetables, or if we go to a good food store, to anywhere natural and buy something organic, a lot of times we'll take those and we will wash them under the sink. That's not such a good thing here. I'm going to run some more tap water just to show you what we have in our tap water. Now, we're going to run a little bit different test here. We're actually going to test the chlorine, the amount of chlorine that we have in this tap water. So we'll put 4 drops there. We'll go ahead and stir this up. And that yellow color, you can see, is a ton of chlorine. That is a lot of chlorine. And of course that chlorine's put in there, I guess, to protect us, but I certainly don't want to put this chlorine into my body. A typical glass of chlorinated water, you know, if you take a shower, a 15-minute shower, you're going to absorb anywhere from 6 to 8 glasses of that chlorinated water through your skin, which of course is your largest organ. And so you don't want that to happen. But here's what happens when we go down to the store and we buy a fruit or a vegetable or whatever it is, and we decide to wash it off. We would normally put that right under the tap. Well, we're going to show you what happens when you do that. Get this nice and chopped up. I'll just give this a nice little bath. There we go, making a mess. Put this right here. Just going to give this a little stir, just like we would. I mean, I know my wife jumps in the bath and she'll take a nice 15 or 20-minute bath. Well, the good news is that, you know, we have a nest spa that we've actually got in our home. So when we bathe, we don't have to bathe in this tap water, because this onion now is representing our skin. You know, this onion also, it would be like any of the food that you would decide to run under the tap. And if you do that, watch what happens here. As we pour this out, take a look. What happened to that yellow chlorinated color? You know what happened. It's gone. The reason it's gone is it absorbed right into the onions, which now, of course, we're going to eat. I just put more chlorine drops in there to see how much chlorine's left in that water, and there's none. So what happened when we took our fruits and vegetables and we washed them under the tap? I think you just realized it. We didn't wash the vegetables, we washed the water. We literally cleaned the water, we filtered the water that we let go down the drain, and we put the chlorine and the other chemicals right into the food that we're about to eat. So that right there is pretty dramatic. And I'll tell you, I know that I don't want to ever shower or bathe in regular chlorinated water. I certainly don't want to have to wash my food in it by any means. And so you definitely want to actually go ahead and use our 11.5 water when it comes to cleaning off our foods. So let's go back now to these tomatoes and let's see what's happened. Get a couple more glasses here, and let's go ahead and take a little look here. This is what the Dasani. Reverse osmosis water is in a lot of homes. People have these filter systems that are built right in, and basically they do it because they think that that water is very, very good for you. Now, what did we wash off of these tomatoes with that water? I think you can tell it doesn't look like much. That looks like regular old clean water. We'll come over here. Now let's see what we washed off of this first set of tomatoes. Look at that water. That yellow color right there represents the pollutants that we actually have that are on those tomatoes. Typically, you would actually eat these, and if you were to taste the difference between the two, you will not want to eat these tomatoes, because as you go ahead and grab these tomatoes, they're fantastic. They're sweet and they just taste incredible. They taste exactly like they'd taste right out of the garden. So you don't want to ever have to eat food that you haven't washed in our water. So we'll go ahead and set these right aside here. because I've got one last thing that I want to show you that is absolutely unbelievable. It is so unbelievable that most folks, when they see this, they absolutely cannot believe what they just saw, and it is quite amazing. What I've got here is just some olive oil, and we're just going to take some pure olive oil here. It's 100% extra virgin olive oil. Now, what happens when you typically mix water and oil? I think everybody knows that as you mix water and oil, they don't mix. Just like we've been taught in school, everything we've ever been taught, that's exactly what happens is they don't mix. The oil just floats right to the top. Well, what's pretty amazing about our water is that you've got, we'll take some more of this 11.5 water. This water has cleaning powers that are so amazing that you can actually, when it comes to cleaning those tomatoes, as we saw, it took everything off of those tomatoes. Most of the herbicides and pesticides today are oil-based. So anything that they're putting onto our foods, they make it oil-based so it doesn't wash off when it rains. It makes sense. But when we take our 11.5 water now and we actually pour this into olive oil, look what just happened. That is completely emulsified right in the cup. That's amazing. There's chemists out there that say that's impossible. That shouldn't happen. But look at that. We just emulsified this oil. Talk about cleaning properties. Talk about being able to clean your shower or clean the car or clean anything greasy. You know, if the kids go out and get something on their clothes that they shouldn't have, you're going to be able to cut it and break it down. But this oil, you know, it represents the gunk and the junk in the body. And look at how if we put the right water into our body by putting a high pH water in our body, we can actually take this right out of it. And so that right there is reason enough for anybody to go ahead and get one of these machines. So I hope today that I've shown you exactly what you need to see and to actually be able to tell what this machine can do for you in your home. Because everything that this machine has, it has the water levels starting at 8.5 pH up to 9, and the 9.5, we have a 7.0 water, which is the water for medication. If anybody's taking a medication, you know, a pharmaceutical, you have to be careful because just like it multiplied the effects of the tea, it'll do the same thing for the medication. And so we have a clean water function here, 7.0, and if you were going to take a medication, you would want to go 30 minutes before or 30 minutes after taking it, you'd want to use our 7.0 water. We also have a 5.5 acidic water, and then we have the strong acidic, the 2.5 water, which has amazing properties, you know, as we've seen on this disc today. So basically, you know, this machine produces all the different waters that you're going to need in your home. You can get all the chemicals out of your house that you don't want to have into your house. You can put the absolute best water into your bodies, into everybody in your family, and I hope that now you understand how important it is that you put this water in your body.
I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis about 8 years ago. And I decided to be very proactive about my health, and my decision was to do an injectable medication each day. And about 5 years ago, I decided that I wanted to try to change my diet to be more alkaline and perhaps get off the medication. And I did a lot of pretty difficult things to make it more alkaline. I drank a special green drink. I would soak almonds and then grind them and soak them and strain them and eat tons of avocados. And when I found out about this water generator, I really was very attuned to it because of this acidity, alkalinity, which I knew was so very important. And I actually haven't had another relapse in my MS for 5 years since I started doing this. So I started drinking the water, and I noticed huge changes in my mood, in my energy level, in my elimination, and really in my clarity of thinking. It's been a tremendous benefit to my life. I mean, I think that one thing that happens when people have MS is that they have a host of other problems that occur. They feel depressed. They have trouble really having clear thoughts sometimes. And this has just made a ton of difference. So I am so incredibly thankful, and I hope that I get to share it with lots of people.
Enagic is the gold standard in water ionization. Enagic is a Japanese company with the precision of Japanese engineering and quality control, with the mission to improve the lives of as many people as they can reach. Each Enagic machine is built to last a lifetime with proper care. Parts can be individually replaced or repaired if necessary, making these machines a lifetime investment and not a disposable appliance that needs to be replaced every 3 to 5 years. With repair facilities located in the U.S. and across the world, repairs are easily performed. Each Enagic machine is completely assembled by one technician from start to finish and backed by a complete 5-year warranty. On the SD501, other units have a 3-year warranty. Enagic has been in business for over 35 years and has numerous awards and certificates. One certificate to note is the one from the prestigious Geriatric Disease Prevention Association of Japan that endorses only one water ionizer company. That company is Enagic. This group consists of over 6,500 doctors who endorse and use KangenWater with their patients. It's important to note that these doctors are using the strong acidic and strong KangenWaters as part of many therapies, and most water ionizers are incapable of producing these special waters. Another certificate to point out is the International Earth Environment University Award, given to companies for their outstanding contribution in the area of natural conservation and eco-business. This is one of the greenest products on the market, doing away with the need for millions of plastic water bottles that clog our landfills and the toxic chemicals often used for a household cleaning. One of the most important things to understand about water ionizers are the plates. Enagic uses solid titanium plates, individually cut to size and then coated in platinum. And the SD501 has 7 of the largest plates in the industry. The plates are important because these plates are then charged with electricity, becoming the engine of the ionizer. When the water passes over the plates, the minerals in the water are separated into 2 streams of water, one alkaline and one acidic. The more plate surface area and the more power you can apply to the plates, the better the separation and the better the quality of the ionized water. Some metals are better electrical conductors than others, and some hold up to the abuse of electrolysis. While some manufacturers use stainless steel or white gold because they are less expensive, the most reputable companies use titanium and platinum. Titanium is used because it is a very dense metal and is a great conductor of electricity. Platinum is a great durable conductor of electricity, and it's applied on top of the titanium to keep the titanium from breaking down in water during electrolysis. Enagic's SD501 water ionizer has the ability to utilize the highest wattage in the industry. Everyone knows that if you want a brighter light, you use a higher wattage light bulb. With ionizers, the higher the wattage, the more it impacts the water. Enagic also uses a transformer for their power supply. A transformer is the most stable, effective, and time-tested form of electrical regulator available on the market today. But Enagic machines don't overheat because of their precision engineering and technology. Most other machines don't use transformers because they cannot handle the heat generated. Enagic uses solid titanium platinum plates. Their research has shown that solid plates are the most stable and time-tested method for creating ionized water. They don't use the mesh plates used by some manufacturers because of the long-term problems mesh plates pose. Mesh plates seem to make sense to someone who is uninformed on the subject of water ionization because it creates more surface area to come in contact with the water. The drawback is, when metal expands and contracts as it is heated and cooled, the mesh plates tend to break down, thus reducing the ability of the plates to produce alkaline ionized water for more than a few minutes at a time. These cracks also expose titanium to the water, which then creates potential health problems. Mesh plates are a way for a manufacturer to save money in production while having nothing to do with increasing the quality of the water. The plates are the engine of this machine. Obviously, you can produce a smaller engine for less money than a more powerful one. Another important factor in ionizing water is the amount of time the water comes in contact with the plates. The longer the water is exposed to the electricity in the electrolysis chamber, the more it is changed, resulting in higher ORP and pH values. As an example, if you run the water through a machine with small plates very slowly, you will get a higher pH value of water than if it runs at a faster flow rate, such as you would do when filling your glass to drink. If it runs through very quickly, the pH will be much lower. It is therefore important when comparing machines to make certain the flow rates are equal in the comparison. Water pressures vary from area to area and day to day. Enagic engineers have handled this by allowing you to regulate the volume of water flowing through your machine to suit the local conditions and pressures. They can do this because of the ability of these larger plates and the amount of power running through them. A flow regulator does not improve water quality, but in reality, simply compensates for an inferior design and allowing the water more time to come in contact with the plates. Simple pH tests should be conducted when you install your machine and on a periodic basis to help you evaluate the best water pressure for your machine. All Enagic machines can produce between 1.2 and 2 gallons of Kangen water per minute. The Enagic SD501 is found in some health practices and doctors' offices in the U.S. Dr. Dave Carpenter's office currently distributes 300 to 500 gallons of Kangen water with their SD501 per day to their patients. Enagic doesn't have any restrictions on the hardness of the source water, nor how much water you can give away to friends and family. Enagic ionizers make water with such unique and stable properties that they have trademarked it. When a doctor writes a prescription for Kangen water, it is for water made only by an Enagic ionizer. When doctors like Dr. Hiromi Shinya and others talk about having their patients drink Kangen water, it is this unique water made only by an Enagic ionizer. No other manufacturer's machines make Kangen water, no matter what they claim. Enagic ionizers are self-cleaning, and in addition, they have a cleaning maintenance cartridge to address the mineral buildup on the plates that occur with use. This cleaning system is a patented system. This allows the machines to produce the highest quality of Kangen water available and is why Enagic is the gold standard when it comes to water ionizers. Enagic is the market leader. As such, they are leading the way and even forcing changes in the industry because of their high standards, superior technology, incredible warranty, and other industry-leading innovations. Currently, Enagic manufactures several different models of ionizers. These range in cost from $1,300 up to $6,000. The SD501 is designed to last for 15+ years with proper care and maintenance, and to be repaired if the time comes that a component wears out. These are not throwaway machines. Our president, Mr. Oshiro, wants this to be the only ionizer you have to buy in your lifetime. The SD501 is Enagic's flagship model. It is the best engineered water ionizer on the market designed for home use. It's also being used in many commercial settings because of its unique design and capacity. But Enagic's other models are equally well built and will perform just like a true little brother to their flagship model. After all, they are all designed and built to set the standard. Occasionally, we hear from people who are seeing so-called negative information on the internet. A recent online survey revealed that it is the opinion of some people that the world is flat. Man has never landed on the moon. The tragedy of the Holocaust really never happened. Canada is planning on invading the USA. Drinking alkaline water is nonsense, and water ionizers don't work. Please keep in mind that although everyone has the right to an opinion, it doesn't necessarily mean that their opinion is true or even remotely resembling the truth. But it can be very convincing. Let's look at what Dr. Ray Kurzweil has to say about ionizers and alkaline water. Dr. Ray Kurzweil was inducted in 2002 into the National Inventors Hall of Fame. He received the $500,000 Lemelson MIT Prize, the nation's largest award in invention and innovation. He received the 1999 National Medal of Technology, the nation's highest honor in technology, from President Clinton in a White House ceremony. He has also received scores of other national and international awards, including the 1994 Dickson Prize, Carnegie Mellon University's Top Science Prize, Engineer of the Year from Design News, Inventor of the Year from MIT, and the Grace Murray Hopper Award from the Association for Computing Machinery. He has received 12 honorary doctorates and honors from 3 U.S. presidents. Here is what Dr. Kurzweil had to say about alkaline water being nonsense and that water ionizers don't work. It is fairly simple to show that these statements are incorrect. Alkaline ionized water is very beneficial to one's health. There are more benefits to drinking alkaline ionized water than just the alkalinity or pH. The most important benefit of drinking alkaline water produced by an ionizer is the oxidation reduction potential. Water with a high negative ORP is of particular value in its ability to neutralize oxygen-free radicals. You've briefly heard what Dr. Kurzweil had to say, and you've heard what Dr. Mushik Shan had to say earlier in the program. The question you should be asking yourself, if you still find yourself being somewhat skeptical, is, what if what we're telling you is true? Can you afford not to investigate further? What do you really have to lose by drinking the water? Drink the water and get your own answer. Change your water, and it just might change your life.
We have tested a lot of bottled waters, and we find a couple of common themes. Even the ones that are extra expensive and have lots of different additives in them, they may be alkaline. They can achieve that in lots of different ways. They may actually have added minerals in them, which are very good, as long as they're obviously water-soluble minerals and not something that's detrimental to the body. But the real problem seems to be that when people drink most bottled waters, what happens is they're drinking down things that are speeding up the aging process. Those bottled waters tend to be, as a group, waters that have a high positive oxidative reduction potential, meaning that they speed up oxidation or aging. We also find that these bottles sit on pallets, sometimes for months and months at a time. They're exposed to the sun, and a lot of researchers are very concerned that the water in these bottles is contaminated with things like organochlorines. These are cancer-causing agents. So we all have to be aware of that.
Now what we're going to do is we're actually going to test the pH and the ORP of a whole bunch of the waters. Now there's literally hundreds of bottles of water and various things out on the market, but we just have a wide assortment of a bunch of the different drinks that are available in all these different bottles of water. Some expensive brands, some not so expensive brands, spring waters, filtered waters. We're just going to test them just all at the same time and see what happens. So let's go ahead and get started with some of these. First we're going to go with the Fiji. We have Kirkland brand here, which is very popular water. Evian. Voss. Some Crystal spring water. Penta. Naturally preferred spring water. got crystal clear water with peach flavor and some carbonation. So we'll get the ORP meter here set up. We'll go ahead and get our clean water so we can neutralize between each. And let's go ahead, we'll get that clean. Let's go ahead and see what Fiji is. Fiji has a positive 212 and rising ORP. Go back and Costco brand has a 187, 188. I'll go to Evian. Evian has a positive 200 and a little bit more. Voss, what's that? Positive 180 and rising. Crystal spring water, positive 195. Looks like it's going to go just over 200. Now we've got Pinta. There. What's Pinta at? Looks like 188, 200 and some, and still rising. There we go. This naturally spring water is a positive 209. And last but not least, crystal clear. Has a positive, of course the carbonation isn't helping, a positive 270, 280, and then some. So let's just let that sit in our clean water here for a moment, and let's go back and let's test the pH of each of these drinks. Now remember, we're looking for purple. Oops. Try to get 4 drops in each of these. Oh, 4. Get these all stirred up. Got quite an arrange here. Now what you notice is that spring water is always better than any type of reverse osmosis, any type of filtering. They still filter spring waters, and depending on if it's a filtered spring water, you're going to see it be much more acidic. I know Pinta is a very expensive bottled water, and it's very acidic, but you've got here an inexpensive brand of spring water that, of course, is just past neutral, and of course a very acidic drink right over here. You notice that the Costco brand, it looks like, has about the best pH out of all these first ones that we've tested here, but the ORPs, all of them were in the positive range. And like we said, we're looking for that negative ORP. So go ahead and set these all over here. And like I said before, there are hundreds and hundreds of bottles of water on the market, hundreds of them. We're just going to move these right to the front, and we'll test these. Get some new cups laid out here. We even got some vodka here that we'll test out. We'll see how the vodka tests just to see. And we'll get started here. Now this is Sam's Choice. That would be Walmart. Very popular bottled water, widely accessible. We got some New Amsterdam vodka. Another spring water. Deer Park. Another spring water. You know, it's kind of fun looking at all these different bottles of water out on the market because you have quite a variety when you go into a store to decide what to buy. but it'll be good to know which bottled waters are the best. You know, I don't try to drink any bottled water today. It's certainly not good for the environment, and you just really don't know what you're getting just because it's in some nice fancy looking bottle. But today we're going to be able to tell just what is in these waters. Now here's another very popular water today, smart water. So we'll see how the smart water tests, see if it's very smart. Little Schweppes. Okay, we'll just back this up, get the ORP meter to the other side, and we'll do this again. Let's see, get it turned on. Let's see how Sam's Walmart water is going to do here. Now actually, that's got a pretty good reading. We're at about 112, 113, and compared to some of the ones we looked at, that's pretty good. I'm sure Walmart will be happy to know that. We'll put this down into the vodka, and wow, look at that. Vodka has 159. It looks like it's better to drink vodka than it is most of these bottles of water. I'm sure there'll be some happy people to find out about that. Here we go. Let's test this next water. We have a positive 153, 156, 160. It looks like it's going to climb into the 170s. So that's about the same as everybody else. Let's test out Deer Park. Deer Park is a positive 160, 159. Looks like it's coming down a little bit there. About a 158. Let's check out this one. And it looks like we've got about a positive 189, and it's continuing to go. Looks like it's going to top at 200. That's a nice pretty bottle. Let's see what we've got here. This looks like a positive 158, 175. I think you're getting the point that most of these bottles of water here are pretty much, they don't have any oxidation reduction potential that's certainly good for us. Here's this smart water. Now this is where we're going to see how smart it is. It looks like it's smart to the tune of about a positive 180 on the ORP scale. So no antioxidant property in the smart water. And lastly, we'll get in here to the Schweppes, and it looks like we've got a positive 222, 225, and climbing. So none of those got down into the 0 range, and certainly none of them went negative, like the KangenWater. Let's go ahead though, and we will put 4 drops into each of these. Now remember, we're looking for purple. Blue is neutral. Actually, and then green gets all the way neutral. If it goes a little bit blue-green, there's 4. Let's see what we've got on the table here. It looks as though only one, we'll get, that's the vodka. It looks like only one of these is actually going to be a little above neutral. Looks like Sam's Choice is about, it's a little under neutral. The Deer Park looks like it's about neutral, around 7. Some of these other waters here, again, very acidic. And very acidic. The smart water looks like it's trying to get pretty close to neutral. I think what we've learned here today is that we've learned that most of the bottles of water that you go to the store and you buy, as you can tell, are pretty much acidic. There's a few here, and it's good to know, for the most part, anytime you grab a spring water, you're going to be okay. But certainly you don't want to drink that water on a regular basis. You want the properties that the KangenWater has with the microclustering, with the high alkalinity, and the high negative ORP number. That's about the most important thing you want to look for. And certainly you want to just get that water directly from a machine. We don't want to store it into the bottles. As Dr. Carpenter said, when water sits in a bottle, it loses its hexagonal properties and it turns into a pentagonal water, and it just is a water that our bodies are not able to utilize as it was intended. So that's what we've learned. I think bottom line is the best water that we should be drinking, without a doubt, is the KangenWater 9.5. I wonder, I wanted to try this. Let's see if we can actually get these waters to come back up to some type of alkalinity by adding our water to them. Oh, we can get the smart water. Oh, look at that. Vodka doesn't look like it's that bad. Most of these waters we can certainly change, but as you can tell, some of them are kind of going back a little bit. This one's actually going more back towards acidic. A few of them have stayed, but you can see how powerful Kangen water is, and this is what you need to be putting into your body.
Putting this wonderful water in your body absolutely is one of the best preventive maintenance things that I personally know of, and I recommend it to everybody that I talk to.
I got involved in Enagic because this Kangen water did such miraculous things for my health. I wanted that same benefit for a lot of the people that I knew, certainly my loved ones and people that I care about. Because I shared it with a few people, some really exciting things happened. In fact, in the first 30 days, I went away just for a weekend, and I came back and found 18 checks waiting for me in my mailbox. And that, of course, was the first clue that I needed to take a more serious look at the business. Once I evaluated this business model, I knew I had to involve other people who could be serious about the business as well. I was fortunate enough to have contacted some key individuals, dynamic individuals that also caught the vision of what Enagic was all about, as well as the future of Kangen water. We locked arms, went out and spread the word, and my business grew, and in my first year I made a very significant six-figure income. And here's what I know. When somebody gets excited about this amazing Kangen water and wants to share it with other people that they know and care about, they can make a pretty significant income as well.
So we said, we just need to buy a machine. So we did and started drinking the water, and within a few weeks, a bunch of our neighbors and friends were drinking the water. Kept giving it to all of them, just to see what they would think about it. And before we knew it, everybody started wanting to have their own machine in their own house. And so we figured out that we were able to do that as a distributor. And so pretty soon, before we knew it, we started having machines being sold constantly. And now today, a mere 10 months later, we've got a couple hundred machines all over the country. And people are just excited about this water because this water really does work. There's a lot of products out there that we've seen before where people try to get you excited about it, but the fact of the matter is you've got to sell it to them month after month after month. And with this product, it's a one-time purchase. The residual of it sitting on the countertop for the next 15 years because of the life expectancy of the machine is amazing. No matter what happens to them, whether their roof gets a leak or whether their car breaks down or whatever it is, they're going to turn around and drink this water. There's no way they can say, oh, I'm not going to order it this month. So no matter what, they're going to drink it. And folks that I've introduced this water to, when they drink it, they don't want to drink anything else, nothing else, just this water. So it's got to be the most amazing product, the most amazing business opportunity that I've ever seen.
I've been involved now with Enagic for a little over 2 years, and I can tell you it's been the greatest experience of my life. I've been full-time in sales and marketing now for about 14 years. Certainly had my share of successes, also more than my share of disappointments. So I think the longer you are involved in this sales and marketing business, you get a little keener, a little sharper about what's real and what's not. And what I saw here with Enagic was a company with tremendous integrity, tremendous stability, a product of amazing value that most people don't even know about, and certainly a business plan where an individual could really see the fruits of their labor in a short period of time. And that's exactly what's happened for me and so many other people.
If you've gotten to this point of the DVD, I'm sure you've seen some very impressive testimonials, not just about the business, but also about the product and how powerfully this water has an effect on the way people live. When you have something that makes that powerful an effect on people, then there's also the opportunity to take advantage of showing other people and sharing with other people not only the water, but also the opportunity. This is the point of the DVD where we're going to explain how the company will reward you for sharing the product with other people. We actually like to only use people that are satisfied customers of the company in order to share the product and the opportunity with those that they love and care about. And in that process, the company has made it about as easy as it can be. There's actually no fee to represent the company. The company does not charge a fee to be a distributor for it. There is no monthly fees required. There's no hoops to jump through. Actually, the company is not predatory at all. If you buy a machine, the company is happy to send you a thank you check for every referral that you make to the company. And here's how it works. Once you share the product with someone, if they decide that they'd like to also enjoy the benefits of the water, they can purchase a machine from the company. The company warehouses the product for you. They take care of all the paperwork. They simply have to receive the order, and then they ship the product to the customer. When that happens, about 8 or 9 days later, they're going to send you a thank you check for referring the customer to the company. This happens on the first 2 people that you introduce to the company. The company pays on what they call a point system. Each point has a value. And we're going to talk today about the SD501, which is the flagship product of the company. This product will last 15 years if you maintain it properly, and has a bumper-to-bumper warranty for 5 years. It's really the best product for the money. And we're going to base all of our commissions on that machine. We have many other machines, but that is our most popular machine. So if you recommend this machine to someone and they purchase that machine, the company is going to send you a check for $235. And if you're active in the company is going to add an additional special bonus of $50 to each one of those checks for a grand total of $285. So for purposes of this illustration, we're going to talk about you being fully qualified and able to earn a commission check of $285 per point. So the first 2 individuals that you refer to the company sends you a thank you check for $285. And every time they refer someone to the company to buy a machine, they will also get a check for $285, and so do you. This is a great way to refer people. We actually call it human-based marketing, as opposed to most traditional businesses that use locations to sell their products and goods. We actually are looking for key people instead of key locations. So if you can find a few key people that care about other people and want to share the product with them, or perhaps the opportunity, then they can begin to generate an income for you as they refer friends and relatives and those in need to the product and the machine. Now, the third person that you bring into the business, the company will now double that income. So they're going to give you 2 points. And on each one of those, that's 2 times $285 for a total of $570. And this goes down through 7 referrals. Now, if any one of those 7 referrals decides to share it with 5 or 10 people, guess what? You make $570 on each one of those sales and referrals that customer has made. On the 8th referral, the company will send you a check for $285. Now, it gets even better. What happens is, as these individuals begin to sell more products and share the products with others, it's without fail that you will sell more and more units. It's just the way it works. As people get results, they can't help but tell other people about it. When they've sold, and your team has sold a total of 10 machines, and you now refer one more person to the company, and they buy a machine, the company now gives you another raise. Now you're making 3 points on sales on this team. That's $855 on each one of those sales. And this continues down through 6 referrals that are done from that team. On the 7th referral, you'll make $570. On the 8th, you'll make $285. Now, the great news is this works like a real distributorship. The more you sell, the more money you make. So as this team begins to grow and expand and share the products with other people, let's say that your whole team does a total of 20 sales. And remember, the first 10 count. So you've done a total of 20 sales, and there's no time restraint on this. Whether it happens in a day, a week, a year, a month, it doesn't really matter. The company will now allow you to open up a new sales team, and on this sales team, the company is going to pay you 4 points. 4 points is 4 times $285 for a total of $1,140. And they will pay you that through 5 referrals, one right after the other. On the 6th, you're going to get $855. On the 7th, $570, and on the 8th, $285. Now I can tell you, when you start getting checks for $1,140, it's going to get everybody's attention. Now as you begin to grow and this team begins to expand, when you have a total of 50 sales on your team, and this includes the first 20 and the first 10, so the company is not going to penalize you or make you jump through a new hoop. When you've got a total of 50 sales and you make the 51st sale yourself, a direct sale, the company will now pay you $1,425 on that sale, and for 4 subsequent sales. And then on the next level, you're going to get $1,140, $855, $570, and $285. Now, at this point, you've got a lot of machines that are affecting a lot of lives. And as they begin to share the product, because guess what? The samples are free. So as they begin to share this product with other friends and relatives and those they care and love, those 50 machines will very quickly turn into 100 machines. When that happens, you are now able to open up a new organization, and we call this a 6A team. Now this 6A team is at the top of our pay plan. At that level, the company pays you 6 points. That's 6 times $285 for a total of $1,710. $1,710 through 3 referrals. On the 4th, $1,425. The 5th, $1,140, $855, $570, and finally $285. Now I don't know about you, but that's a lot of income. And the reason why the company is doing this is, frankly, they want to get this product out. It's like being the first person in town with a brand new kitchen appliance. In Japan, 1 in 5 homes has a house like this. In this country, only 1 in 18,000 homes. This is called opportunity. And when you have a product that you can put on somebody's kitchen counter or even under the counter and have these kinds of results, it's going to spread like wildfire. And as a result of that, the company's going to pay you quite well to share this product and this story with many other people. The reason we don't put this in stores is, frankly, it takes a little bit of time to explain how this works. And we're paying, and the company is paying those people who are willing to share the product a very good income to do that. Now, one of the things that you will find is there are many life-changing products out there that will never see the light of day for one simple reason. They don't pay people well enough to share the opportunity or to share the product. That's not the case with this company. It's been my experience that you work with people that are either givers or takers. And this company is obviously a company that believes in giving and giving back to the distributors that are getting the job done. So if you'd like to experience the rewards that can generate and really change someone's life in a financial way, just like this changes people's lives in a health way, we'd like to welcome you to the team. At this point, you're probably a little confused. You've probably never seen a compensation plan quite like this before, and I want you to put your mind at ease, because in time, all of this will become very clear to you. The main thing that I wanted you to realize is that the company is very fair and very generous when it comes to those that are involved in sharing the news. We actually have 6 separate streams of income that the company has. We just covered one. There's an additional 5 streams of income that are paid monthly and quarterly. But to give it a little more reality for you, let's just talk in an illustrative form. Let's suggest that you could find one individual during a month that would be interested in either changing their health profile, or perhaps they would like to make a change financially. Whether they want to make $500 a month, or if they want to really change careers and generate a full-time career representing Enagic's quality products. If you find yourself in either one of those categories, pay close attention to this illustration. If you could spend just 2 hours a day towards building your home-based business, and let's say you just worked 5 days a week, so that's 2 hours a day for 5 days, that's 10 hours in a week, that's a little over 40 hours in a month. So that's like working a full 40-hour week. Now we have a lot of tools available, and let's suggest that you are able to utilize these tools. We have websites, we have DVDs like the one you're watching today. We also have conference calls, we have presentations that are done all over the country. And let's say that you took advantage of those and you spent 40 hours exposing the product, the opportunity to friends, relatives, business associates, and so on during that 40 hours. How many people do you think you would find who would be interested in changing their health profile? How many people do you think you could find who would be interested in perhaps making a change financially? If you would say probably 3 or 4 people in 40 hours, that would be a reasonable thing. Let's be very conservative and let's just say that you could find one person. If you could find one person in a month who would be interested in doing that and would be able to do the same themselves, let's see what would happen in a year's time. Your first month, you would have one sale. You would have helped one person enjoy the benefits of the product. The next month, you get one more sale, and the individual that you brought in last month, you help them, and they also bring in one sale. So your second month, you have 3. Your third month, you have 7. Your fourth month, you have 15. Your next month, you have 31. Your next month, you have 63. Now, you've been in the business 6 months now, and you've sold 63 machines. Now, the interesting thing is you personally have only sold 6 machines, but your whole team, because they're just doing 1 a month, has sold 63. The very next month, the 7th month, you've sold 127 machines. You're now at the top of our compensation plan. You've got all the way to the top in 7 months, working with only getting 1 person a month. Now, let's say that you don't get excited about that because you're at the top of our team and you're making some pretty good money by now. And let's say that you don't tell any more people about it. You just keep going at the pace of 1 person a month. Your very next month, you have 255 people in your organization. The following month, 511. The next month, 1,023. Your 11th month, you have 2,047, and by the 12th month, you have 4,096 people in your organization. That's in 12 months, and you haven't done anything different in your 12th month than you did in your first month. You just found 1 person a month who'd be interested in changing their life financially or health-wise. And I can tell you, if you watched the presentation earlier, you found that there's some pretty excited people here. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. You're saying, well, not everybody's going to get 1 person every month, and that may be true. Some will get 3 or 4 like you thought you could do. Perhaps you're going to find people that will get 10 or 15 and ruin these numbers completely. Now, I'm not going to do the math for you. I'm going to let you do that. You just had an opportunity to see our compensation plan, but just imagine what kind of income you would generate with 4,000 sales in your organization. It's staggering. You could take that number and you could probably cut that in half and cut that in half and cut that in half and even cut that in half, and I'll bet you it's more money than most people make in a whole year. And we're talking about spending a couple hours a day exposing some really great people to a product that's going to have a powerful impact on their life. I'm telling you, when you see what this will do, you'll understand why so many people are so excited about what Enagic has brought to this country. We're on the verge of expanding this concept of human-based marketing, the product, and really the benefits of what this product will do for people around the globe. All we'd like you to do is join arms with us and watch us change the world. Thanks for listening.
I have been trying various network marketing opportunities since about the late 80s and have never really made any money significantly, and certainly not that I could live on. Tried various different things, and when I found this opportunity, it was actually through trying to improve my health. And when I got on this water, I just got such results from it. It was just such an easy thing to do, to share this water and to share what had happened for me, that through that I have been able to significantly replace my income so that I am able to support myself very well by myself. And it's just, in my mind, this is an opportunity that comes around once in a lifetime, because you just don't find a company that has the stability and the longevity that we have here, but yet is so new in this country. And I'm just so excited about it, because the fact is I really don't have to sell anything. It's the machine and the water that does all the work for me, because it really does do what we say it does. And changing my water has absolutely changed my life.
I've been a police detective for 23 years out in Nassau County, Long Island. And for those of you who know anything about Long Island, we're actually one of the highest paid police departments in the entire United States. My salary is right around $180,000. per year. And I don't say that to brag to you, but just to impress upon you that no matter how much you work, or should I say no matter how much you make when you're working a job, just trading hours for dollars, we know that's linear income, you're very limited. So I've always been the type of person that look for other ways to make money, because it really is all about multiple streams of income. I mean, think of any wealthy person you know, Oprah or Donald. Do you think that they only make their money from one stream of income? No, it's all about multiple streams. So anyway, when I was first introduced to this company in Nagic about 14 months ago, the bottom line is I just didn't believe that any water machine could do what these people said it was doing, nor did I believe the type of income could be generated that I heard that some of the people who I personally knew were making. So anyway, after 6 months of turning people down and basically saying no to what I didn't even know, I decided to go out and actually see a demonstration. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you now that when that demonstration ended, I immediately bought my first machine. I've subsequently bought 2 more machines, and it's really been life-changing. There's nothing that I've ever done in business that has done what this business has done for not just myself, but so many people around the country. And when you talk about finances, let's face it, any one of you that are out there that are looking to make extra money, and I know there's a lot of great companies out there, and most of us get involved in network companies to make money, ask yourself, how much money are you really making? I mean, there's a lot of companies out there that, you know, have all the hoopla, thousands of people at events and yada, 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 but how much money are you really making? Well, let me tell you, in this business of Nagic, I hit the top position in the company in 3.5 months, and I do this business part-time. And here's the thing, it's not that there's anything special about me, but I understood that if I just went out there and shared this water with a couple of special people who would go out and do the same in return, that over a period of time we'd build in a massive network, and obviously the more people you help, the more money you will make. So again, I'm a cop, very skeptical. I didn't believe 6 months it took me to even come out and look at this thing. I'm sure a lot of you out there looking at this right now, I'm sure you're very skeptical too, and it's okay to be skeptical. But here's my challenge to you. Just go out there, take a look at the demo, drink the water. I mean, what do you really have to lose? Drink the water, share the water, and you too may put yourself and your family on the road to financial freedom. Take care, and I look forward to seeing all of you at the bank making deposits. Take care.
And do you know that in 2 years' time, I have personally sold machines to only 16 people? But those 16 individuals have done the same thing, and I now get paid every month on more than 1,000 machines that have sold, and I have achieved the level of 6A in about 90 days, 6A2 shortly thereafter, 6A22 shortly after that. I'm now a 6A4, 3, and again, I've only personally sold 16 of these machines. And that just tells you that this is the easiest thing in the world to share with people. Why? Because everyone has results on the water. And once they do, they go out and they share this with everyone they love and care about. So what's happened for me is that I have found a home, a company that I can count on, and I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that as I go out and share this with others and they decide to get involved in the business end of Nagic, that their efforts will not be in vain, and that they can rely on this company to go out and build a solid, secure financial future for themselves and their family.
I was exposed to this technology in Japan. I had a business there for about 5 years, so I knew what the water would do when it got here. And I was quite surprised that it became available here in the United States. And when I first got involved, or first was exposed to it, I had, like many people, lots of other things I was doing. So when I bought my machine, I actually called a couple friends of mine that knew a lot about alkalinity and knew a lot about water and health, told them about the product, and I sold 3 machines. I then left the country. I was gone for about 7 months. Where I was, I didn't know anyone there. I didn't have the ability to build a business or even to drink the water, frankly. And when I got back from that trip, I found that as a result of those 3 people that I introduced to the water, they had sold over 20 machines. So I was pleasantly surprised to see that, and right away went to work and started calling some friends that also had some issues that they'd like to solve, both from the financial side and from the health side. As a result of that, over the last about 14 months, I've generated a substantial income, actually probably 2 or 3 times what most people would make in 3 or 4 years. And I did it part-time initially. because there frankly wasn't a lot to do. It's not like you need to find 10,000 people who are interested in making a health change or perhaps making a financial change. And what I like about this business is you're actually able to take what you would normally have to do with a tremendous investment of time and resources. It would take you 5 years to do. You can actually condense it down to about 2 to 5 months. And that's what happened for me. Literally within 2 months, I was making a full-time income. By the time I had been in the business for a year, I was making the kind of income that rock stars make and professionals that have spent 10, 15 years to perfect their trade. I was able to do that in less than a year. It's been phenomenal. Now, not only was that part great, but I'm having a lot of fun. We're traveling all over the country. We're meeting great people that are concerned about other people, enjoying the lifestyle. And it's one thing when you're getting those phone calls every day, because I get a phone call literally every day about what this water has done to affect somebody's life in a very positive, in some cases, life-changing effects. But I also get phone calls about what the financial difference in someone's life has benefited them. I've had people that have never made any money in a home-based business or opportunity that you would typically find out there. And here, they're able to make a full-time income within a few months, and some as fast as a few weeks. So this has been really life-changing for many people. It certainly has changed my life. And I want to tell anybody that's looking at this for the first time, you've got to take the time to investigate this. This kind of an opportunity comes around about once every decade or so. And you don't want to pass this one by. We've got the stability of a 35-year-old company that's not going anywhere. They've got a tremendous track record. That's the most important thing that you've got to look for when you're evaluating an opportunity. You got to look at who you're involved with, who's the people signing the checks. These guys have been around as a steady corporate citizen for 35 years. They're well financed financially. They control their product start to finish. It doesn't get any better than that. All we have to do is just share the product, share the water, share the opportunity. We have the same compensation plan regardless of your education, regardless of what country you came from, regardless of what color you are. We have the same compensation. It's really just based on what you can do. And the truth is, if I can do it, you can do it. The only difference here, because we have the same product, the same compensation plan, is you. So if you're willing to put in a little bit of time, and you've got tons of help here, we're all here to help you get where you need to go, because I don't get a raise if you don't get a raise. If we don't all do better, none of us do better. So I would encourage you to take a serious look at this, because this is serious business, and it's serious as far as helping people. And when you can change the way somebody feels, you've got the key to the vault. Don't let this one pass you by.
You know, one of the things that I like to share with people is that in that same fish tank, if we change the water to something like reverse osmosis water or distilled water, and you put your fish in that kind of water, the first thing that happens is the fish turn belly up. They get sick quickly, they then die because they can't live in that kind of water. And it's becoming more evident from research that's being done around the world that the human body is very similar. Those kinds of waters don't work very well in our fish tank either. Something else that has been taking place research-wise for a long time started with a pioneer many years ago over in Germany by the name of Otto Warburg, who received a Nobel Prize for his research on fermentation. And he basically, to put it in simple terms, taught that things like cancer cannot survive in an alkaline environment. So if we can keep the waters in the fish tank in our body that represent our body slightly alkaline, we don't have to worry about some of these diseases to the same level, because he says we can't get cancer if those internal fluids are alkaline. Now, there's lots of researchers out there that are supporting this information and supporting this idea. We know that cancer is a process where oxygen is deprived, just like fermentation. And so by hydrating the body, as Dr. Batman-Galich says, by alkalizing the body, as Dr. Warburg says, and also Dr. Susan Lark, who used to teach at Stanford Medical School, says that the top achievers in our country, and in fact throughout the world, are those people who are naturally alkalizers. And she says there's around 3 to 4% of these people worldwide who are the high achievers, the top athletes, the top business people, the top people in different industries, and they are naturally alkalizers. And these people have more energy, they have better mental clarity, they don't tend to get sick, they recover from injuries and activities much faster than everyone else. And it's because of this amazing ability for them to achieve to keep the water in their fish tank a little more alkaline. The rest of us have to work harder at it. The good news is that there are things we can do. We can change our diets. We can eat more alkaline producing foods. We can change our stress levels. Again, that helps reduce the amount of acidity that builds up and accumulates. And we can drink alkaline ionized water. And all of these things together really help all of us to become as capable of being a high achiever as any of these natural alkalizers. And I think that's one of the most exciting things about the technology that we're talking about, is that we can, all of us, achieve that state of health and that state of wellness. In the early 90s, I had the chance to go to Japan and see the technology that we're talking about used in clinical applications in hospital settings. And I saw some things that made me stand back and really evaluate some of the things I'd been taught about medicine and health. And I saw water doing things there that blew my mind. And as a result of that trip and seeing some of those miracles with people who had things like eczema and psoriasis and diabetes and neuropathy, I came back with a strong desire to get one of these machines and have the water available to use in my clinic and to share with my patients and friends and family and myself. And so I came back and I bought a water ionizer, and I have to be honest, I was very disappointed in the results. I gave a lot of water away and people just didn't notice any difference, and I really couldn't say that I did either. Treating some of the people with those terrible skin conditions, even acne, it didn't seem like the water was making any difference. So I knew that at that point that ionizers were not all created equally. So that began a search for me and a journey of looking for and finding the best ionizer out there that would accomplish what I wanted it to accomplish to help the most people with the most health challenges. So as a result of that journey, I have gone from one machine to another. I've actually, over the last several years, purchased I've purchased 7 water ionizers from different manufacturers. And I will say some work a little bit better than others, but none really, truly did for my patients and myself what I expected. So I was a little bit disheartened actually, and I thought, well, they just must have something really special in these machines that are made for the hospitals and the clinics and on a big scale, and we just can't get those in a consumer-sized version here in the United States. But in July of 2006, I was invited to a meeting that was a celebration actually that was being done by a company called Enagic, and went to Los Angeles, California, met the president of the company there, Mr. O'Sherrill, and although I wasn't able to understand everything that was being said in Japanese because the meeting was in Japanese, I tried the water and I knew there was something special about that water. I could taste it, I could see the difference, I could feel the difference in my body. And after drinking the water, I slept more sound than I had in a long time. I have to be honest with you, I've never had a lot of health conditions and or challenges, but I slept better and I woke up with less sleep, feeling fully rested and energized, and I had even more energy than normal. And that got me excited. So I bought a machine that following day and got one in my clinic and started giving water away. And I have to tell you, it's just been an absolute miracle what I've seen since. Patients are coming in and getting water. They're bringing their friends in, they're bringing in their family, and they're taking water home and drinking it, and they're coming back and saying, I gotta have some more magic water. And when you ask them what they're noticing, everything from I see I'm using less insulin if they're diabetic, I'm having less pain, I have better sleep, I'm not as depressed, I'm not as anxious. The things they're telling me is absolutely phenomenal. And I've come to realize just how important this foundational part of our body really is. You know, we are 75% water, and we overlook it, we take it for granted. And as I see the changes occurring in patients, what I'm coming to realize more and more every day is that the water is the key. All the other things are secondary. The water is in nature the greatest solvent. The water is the solution in which all chemical reactions take place in the body. The water is the foundation, and as people drink it, amazing things take place inside their body. Perhaps the most important one is what we call the hexagonal properties. This is also called microclustering. And what this simply means is that the water is in smaller groupings or clusters than most water found on the planet. Now, nature produces this high in the mountains. If you go up into the high mountainous areas, you'll find heavy amounts of snowpack and glacier melt, where the water melts and it flows down through the streams and into the rivers and then down into the valleys. And as it does that, it actually changes. It starts out high in the mountains as hexagonal water, or a six-sided molecule. These six-sided molecules actually stick together in clumps of about 3 to 5 molecules. As it flows down into the valleys and as the sun beats down on it, this water literally warms up and it changes form into a pentagon or a 5-sided structure. And these tend to group together in groupings of 15 to 100 molecules. That increases the surface tension. That's also why when you wash clothes with this water, you have to use more and more detergent to get it to wash the clothes, to penetrate the clothing. Now, scientists have found that the most important water for all living organisms, that's animals, plants, and people, is that of the 6-sided structure. And as I said, many people call this microclustered water. And I think that is a great term because it helps us understand that it's in smaller clusters or groups. The significance of that, when it gets inside the body, is that the body can then use this water more easily. It carries more fuel, it carries more oxygen, and it carries away more waste. It penetrates the cell wall much more readily and much more efficiently. This increases the ability of the cell to perform the way they are designed to perform. So your heart cells work better, your brain cells work better, your lung cells work better, your muscles work better, and more efficiently. Most of the bottled waters come from three sources. Many of these come from the municipal source actually, and then are run through a reverse osmosis system. That's what the larger bottlers are doing. Reverse osmosis, as you probably know, is where you take water under pressure and put it up against a membrane with little tiny pinholes that only allow the water through, and it holds back the minerals and theoretically at least the chemicals and other components that may be in the water, purifying the water. The end result is very similar to what you would get with distilled water. Distilled water is basically achieved by taking water, heating it up, and in letting that water rise in a vapor form, and then collecting it back and cooling it down. And the cooled down water, theoretically at least, is without the unsavory components that may be in the water. Again, we've left the minerals behind, we've left hopefully all of the chemicals and other components. So the end result is very clean water that the Japanese call dead water. In fact, if you put that water from either a distiller or from a reverse osmosis machine into your fish tank, the fish would die very quickly. So the Japanese have concluded, and many other researchers are supporting this, that these waters are dead and that they basically demineralize the body. They really suck the energy out of the body. And that's why people, when they start drinking the Kangen water, find themselves with a lot more energy. When we drink waters that are depleted of minerals, they tend to be acidic, number one, and we know from chemistry that acids inside the body have to be neutralized in order to be moved. So in order to do that, the body basically goes into the buffering system, and it uses things like oxygen or minerals that are stored in the bones, the teeth, the joints, connective tissue, and in the muscles and the organs. And it starts pulling those out in order to neutralize these acids. Now, they can be acids from the drinks you're taking in, they can be acids from metabolism, they can be acids created by stressful events, physical, mental, emotional. But all of these things create an additional component of acid waste that has to be neutralized. So we start seeing problems occur where the minerals are lost from the tissues and the bones, and we have names for those things. For example, you talk about receding gums, where the gum starts to pull away from the teeth. That's a loss of minerals. We start seeing problems like calcification of joints. We start seeing problems like osteoporosis, for example, where the bones literally start to break down. They start to lose that mineral density that was there, that the body needs to function optimally. And one of the neat things about watching patients over time drinking Kangen water is that their bone density tests start improving, and they start seeing their receding gums improving, and meaning they're getting better. We start seeing arthritic symptoms reduced. We start seeing those degenerative disc problems improve, because the body and all of the bones and connective tissue are all living, and they're constantly changing. And by giving them water that is smaller in size and more alkaline, it allows that water to carry the necessary building blocks back to these damaged areas of the body, and they start to repair again. They start to put themselves back in order, so to speak, back in balance. You know, sometimes people talk to me about all of the amazing health benefits they've experienced, but I really want to share with you a couple of things I've observed with our animal friends, because I don't believe animals experience placebos, and there's always those doubting Thomases out there that are saying, well, it might be a placebo, and I suppose anything can be a placebo to some degree. to some degree, but I will say this. I have taken Kangen water out in the pasture and given it to horses, put it in a bucket next to the trough where they're used to drinking out of, and they'll always drink the Kangen water first. So then I tried it with dogs, cows, sheep, cats, even birds. And every single one of them, if they get a chance to choose between Kangen water and the regular source water they've been drinking, they will always drink the Kangen water first. Sometimes they'll even go out of their way dramatically to get the Kangen water. I was explaining this to some people one night at a meeting, and they took some water home, and the lady called me the next morning and told me about a cat that she has who had never in its entire life been up on her kitchen counter. And she took the water and was cleaning some vegetables, getting them ready to fix for her salad for her lunch. And she walked out of the room, came back, and her cat had jumped up on the counter and was drinking the water out of the vegetable bowl because it was Kangen water. And now the cat refuses to drink anything but Kangen water. Again, it's not a placebo, but the animals love it, and we're seeing some amazing health benefits for a lot of our animal friends too. Some of the horse people are seeing amazing athletic performance and improved times, just the same as we're seeing with our human athletes. So there's just a lot of things, a lot of benefits, and a lot of ways that people and their animal friends can use Kangen water. We know that there's a problem with bottles in the landfills, and it's gotten so bad that Governor Schwarzenegger and other leading officials are asking people to quit using bottled water in government buildings. And it's not just in California. It was recently in Utah. And it's becoming more and more of a problem for Americans and people around the world. One of the beautiful things by having an ionizer sitting in your kitchen or in your utility room is that you can have the best water available, and you can drink that every day. You can take it in a bottle wherever you go, and you're not contributing to this landfill problem. I think that's something that we all have to take responsibility for and should shoulder some of that responsibility. You know, it often amazes me that we go out and buy new cars and we change the oil exactly as the manufacturer recommends. We are very careful to maintain our cars in every way. And yet, many people trade their cars off every 2 or 3 years. Sometimes people keep them a little longer than that. But we always end up with the same body that we start with. And although that body, which I like to think of as a billion-dollar machine that God gave to us, it is an amazing machine, and it does maintain itself fairly well even with all the abuse we give it. It still amazes me how sometimes we do abuse it, how we sometimes think that we can dump any kind of fuel in it and it'll still run. We can abuse it with not enough sleep. We can abuse it with some of the physical things that we do to ourselves. And we just keep on doing it and doing it and doing it, and then we wonder sometimes why we wake up one morning and we're sick. And I know most of you take a lot better care of your car than you ever have your body. Some of you, on the other hand, are taking better care of your body, and I commend you for that. But I think it is a big problem, and I think it's something that we really need to think about. Putting this wonderful water in your body absolutely is one of the best preventive maintenance things that I personally know of, and I recommend it to everybody that I talk to. You see, as we change our water, we literally do change the foundation of who we are, of our health, of our wellness. And you know, people often ask me, well, Doc, I've been out on the internet and I've found this article that says these things don't work. I found an article that says I can buy a machine for half the money or a third the money. And that's true. And I realize that there are people that can say anything they want to on the internet. I don't have a problem with that. But I do want you to understand something. It's been my experience after having purchased and tested many different manufacturers' machines that the results will vary dramatically according to the machine. Sometimes I think of it this way, you know, if you wanted something for transportation, you could buy a horse, you could buy a bicycle, you could buy a moped, you could buy a car, maybe a small car, and you could buy a Mercedes or a Lexus, or you could buy a Rolls Royce. Each one of those are forms of transportation, but you will find that riding a horse or a bicycle or a moped, for example, in a rainstorm isn't very nice. And it's very slow, and it takes you a lot longer to get where you want to go. If your goal is to improve your health, it seems to me that most of us would choose to do the very best we can to make the most difference every day that we're existing. We want to have better energy, we want to have better health, and we want to perform at our optimum capabilities. That to me is the magic of being healthy and well. So when you go out on the internet and you find people that are making claims and what's the good word? Debunking or bashing the technology, and there's people that say it don't work. Let me just tell you this. My experience has been that it is amazing technology and it really does work. And I can back that up with Japanese doctors who have been using this technology for 35 years. There are many associations of doctors who understand this. Just because we don't, and we fear change, and we're resistant to change in many cases, doesn't mean that it doesn't work. There was a guy by the name of Columbus years ago when everybody in the world thought the world was flat. And he took off in some friends of his in a boat, and he sailed, and he didn't drop off the edge of the world. Now, today, we laugh at that and we say, how could they possibly have thought that the world was flat? And yet, at that time, everybody was of the opinion that the world was flat. We're kind of at that place in our history right now. If we really dig down and look around, we see that most people are sick. Most people's health is not where it ought to be. And yet somehow we keep doing the same things day after day after day, thinking that we're going to get healthier. It doesn't work that way. In fact, somebody told me that was the definition of insanity. So I would urge you to take the time to investigate this, to literally drink the water. Just drink the water and see if what we're telling you will make a difference for you. And I believe that you, like all of the patients that I've worked with and all my friends and all my family members who are trying this water, will also feel the difference. And if you want to try other waters from other machines, do it. Give them an opportunity to show you how they work, because I think you'll find that they're not all created equally, and that the results will be dramatically different from the waters from some machines versus those of other machines. You know, often when we talk about the fish in the fish tank, I have children in the room, and I always like to ask them, when the fish gets sick, what we should do. And there's never hesitation with children. They always say, well, Doc, you have to change the water. And it seems so simple, and yet when we go back to comparing it to the human body and the fish representing the cells in your body, when the cells get sick and we go to the doctor, I've never heard the doctor say, you need to change your water. They usually tell you that you need to add some sort of a medicine. And there's lots of different medicines out there, and there's certainly lots of them that do a lot of good for people in different ways, but it does seem to create a little bit of confusion in people when we start saying that we need to take medicine and we don't go back to the basics. We don't go back to the foundation, which is the water of life. Again, let me reiterate, your body is 75% water, ideally. According to the experts, we come into this life as babies hydrated at about 90%. Think of your skin. Think of that baby's skin when it's born, that first few months. It's smooth, it's soft. As we age, we start to dehydrate, and the more dehydrated we get, the more our skin ages, the more it wrinkles, the more spots we get on it, the rougher it becomes. This is simply a sign, one of many signs of dehydration. Now, people that stay hydrated, they don't have those same problems with their skin, and that's something to think about. It's just common sense. So, rather than grab one more pill or one more medicine or one more herb or one more anything, maybe stop and think about, what could I do if I just drank a little bit more water? And particularly the right water, because it does make a big difference.
My name is Noom Brandenburg, and I am an optometrist, and I practice in North Atlanta. I'm in a private practice, a group private practice, where we see a lot of patients, both for medical conditions, as well as for specialty contact lens and eyeglass fittings. And my husband and I started drinking Kangen water about 7 months ago, and a friend of ours was sharing the water with us with hopes that it would help my husband's medical conditions. At the time, he was suffering from severe migraines, extremely elevated blood pressure, some elevated cholesterol levels. He had some acid reflux. There was a whole bunch of health conditions he was dealing with, mainly stress-related. And after about a month of drinking the Kangen water, he went back to the doctor, and the doctor reported that he had lost weight. His blood pressure had come down almost 50 points, which was significant. He had some mildly lowered cholesterol levels, and his reflux and his migraine headaches were completely gone. As for me, I started drinking it with him in order to encourage him to drink the water. He was never a water drinker to begin with, and so we all had to come on board family-wise, otherwise he was going to go back to the soda. But as for myself, I was pretty healthy to begin with, and so for me, the changes were not as significant, but I did notice that after drinking the water for about 2 weeks, that my energy level increased significantly. I was able to stay up much later at night, get up much earlier in the morning, and not have the run-down feeling that I was having before. With the type of work that I'm in, I'm on my feet a lot and walking, around from room to room, and so the energy level increase really helped as far as my daily activities. As far as my personal experience with friends and patients and family, I encounter patients every day who have a multiple variety of health conditions, and they're not necessarily all elderly people. I have some young adults, even some young children who suffer from conditions such as diabetes and high blood pressure, even as young as 6 and 7 years old. And many of my diabetic patients will come in for their medical eye exam, and it's so that we can check for any signs of bleeding and leakage that occur in the back of the eye as a result of the diabetes that can potentially be vision threatening. And for me, I have found that for my diabetic patients that I have recommended this water to, that for those that have taken the step and tried it, many of them have reduced blood sugar, almost some of them pretty quickly within a week or two. Others within a couple of months will come back and report that their doctors have reduced their insulin level. And as for the effects on the eye itself, I'm seeing less signs of fluctuating vision, where with diabetes, the blood sugar can fluctuate from day to day depending on their diets and their stress levels. And my diabetic patients who are taking or drinking the Kangen water have found that their night vision is improved, and that their vision is more stable from day to day, and we're not having to change their glasses as much, which saves them in their pocketbook too with their glasses. As far as for the other eye conditions that I have seen with patients, because the eye is a living and healthy tissue that is active active. It's constantly taking in nutrients and constantly getting rid of the waste products and the toxins that develop in the cells. I have found that with KangenWater, it has the unique characteristics of the KangenWater to be able to eliminate waste and to be able to enhance metabolism are a very big enhancement to eye health in several conditions, namely dry eyes, macular degeneration, and glaucoma. And for my dry eye patients, dry eye is a condition where lack of tear film or poor quality tear film can cause the eyes to feel very uncomfortable. And it happens in people, especially who are on the computer a lot. It happens with a lot of elderly patients or patients who are taking multiple medications that can have a lot of side effects. And what I have found is I've recommended the water to several patients, and they have come back and reported that they don't have to use artificial tears during the day as often. And some of them have come off of the artificial tears completely, and some have even come off of their prescription medications that we've prescribed. There's another condition that can affect the surface of the eye, styes. I run into them quite a bit, especially living here in Atlanta. We have a lot of pollen in the air, and pollen can sometimes cause an inflammation of the eyelids, and not only does it cause puffiness and swelling around the eyes, it can cause styes to form on the eyelid itself. And using the 2.5 KangenWater sprayed on the eyelid will usually help resolve styes pretty quickly. It also helps to improve the appearance of puffy skin around the eyelids, and it reduces the sunken look of the eye sockets when the eyes become dehydrated. When we go to the inside of the eye, I do believe that anytime that you can eat foods or drink water that is highly oxidizing and high in antioxidants, you can improve the internal health of the eye. And there's a condition called macular degeneration that affects a lot of people. Matter of fact, it affects about 1 out of every 3 people over the age of 70. And I do see quite a few people who suffer from macular degeneration. Macular degeneration occurs because the center part of the eye, or the most sensitive part of the eye, called the macula, begins to break down, and it can no longer efficiently remove the waste products. And so as a result, those waste products sit on the retina, which is the most sensitive part of the eye, and it can lead to bleeding, it can lead to scar formation, and eventually to potential blind spots, which can lead to blindness, central blindness particularly, which affects direct vision when people are watching TV, reading, driving, and it can be devastating to the vision. Now, research has proven that for patients who have macular degeneration, if they increase their intake of antioxidants, and especially with certain supplements that are high in antioxidants like lutein and zeaxanthin, they can actually stabilize and slow down the progression of the macular degeneration. We can't really say that it cures it, but it definitely has led to a great deal of improvement. It can stabilize it so the patient no longer loses vision as a result of the progression of macular degeneration, which is very important for maintaining quality of life. And because of KangenWater's ability to because KangenWater possesses about 8 to 10 times the antioxidant value as most normal foods, I do believe that it can be used as an adjunct to help increase the antioxidant level and to also help eliminate the waste from the macula and thereby improve the vision for people who have macular degeneration. There's another condition that affects the inside of the eye, and that's glaucoma. And glaucoma is a condition where damage to the optic nerve can lead to blind spots in the vision. And there is a strong correlation with blood flow to the eye and the increased incidence of glaucoma. And it's my opinion that patients who have glaucoma can greatly benefit from drinking KangenWater because of its ability to enhance blood flow to the back of the eye and to enhance circulation. And then on the last note, we mentioned earlier about the diabetes, and diabetes, like glaucoma, is also related to blood flow. It's no coincidence that patients who have higher incidences of high blood pressure, diabetes, and even sleep apnea, which affects the blood flow to the back of the eye, have higher incidences of glaucoma and other forms of retinopathy that can affect vision. So in my opinion, this is a water that it has a great deal of potential for helping patients who have eye health problems. And I've been using it quite a bit, in our own family, but I've also been recommending it to patients because of its unique characteristics to be able to reduce inflammation and to be able to increase blood flow and thereby enhance vision for the rest of their lives.
We got introduced to this program because some friends of ours cared enough about us to bring us some water to try. And Dale and Valerie said, Keith, I want you to try this water. And I said, well, Dale, I buy a bottle of water. And he said, well, try this water. And I said, okay. Well, to give you a little background on that and what the benefit was, I'm diabetic. I am a chiropractor and a doctor and physician in the state of Texas. So what happens is sometimes we overlook our professional folks that are around and think they know everything. Ladies and gentlemen, we don't. We're so busy trying to help you get well that many times we don't take as good a care of ourselves. And so back about 3 years ago, I had a roundabout with some blood clots in my left leg and some Coumadin for about 7 months to try to dissolve those. And then following year, I had the same problem with staph and strep infection in my big toe from a blister I got at school, teaching high school, the medical courses at school. And what happened was that I ended up in the hospital for about 3 weeks. Around the clock, 24 hours a day, I had a 1-hour IV drip for 2 weeks before I got out of there. When I got out of there, my leg was still swelling from time to time. My blood sugar was still erratic. I was still having major problems with weight control. And then a year later, friends of ours brought us this water to try, and what happened was those symptoms that were staying with me, that were bugging me, even though I was there treating other patients, they still bugged me, right? Started to rescind. They started to reverse. I started losing weight. The circulation came back to my leg didn't swell as much. I started seeing results in me. My wife tried it, and she'll tell a little bit about what happened with her. My daughters have tried it. They've had some great success. But what happened was that I started sharing it with our patients. And when we started sharing it with our patients, not everybody has the same problems, but it seemed to balance out whatever they needed. Now, being in the field of chiropractic and working with acupressure and acupuncture and working with colon hydrotherapy, I always found some things that I couldn't do, that I couldn't help a person correct the balances in their body. And so I was always looking for the underlying problem, not just the symptom, because we can treat symptoms all day long. Ladies and gentlemen, the only two ways that we get healed is God touches us and heals us instantaneously and miraculously. The other way is that He designed our bodies to heal themselves if we remove the interference and supply what it needs, but there's no other way to heal. Now, all doctors work together in helping the body correct itself, whether we use medication, or use acupuncture, or use colon hydrotherapy, or physical therapy, or reflexology, or massage. It makes no difference. We're all working to try to help the body conservatively help itself. But if we can't, we have to look for the underlying cause. And we've got to be open enough to listen to what the body's telling us. Most modalities, no matter what it is we go after, can be benefited by properly hydrating the body. It's that important, and we miss it so easily. Everybody gets taught that Coke is the real thing, and that's okay. We can drink Cokes once in a while, but they're not as good for our bodies as healing as something more alkaline that this water allows our bodies to do. So if we take some of the things that are more acid in our body and putting in our body and replace them with some things that are more alkaline, then what happens is the body, the bicarbonate system, doesn't have to work quite so hard. It's like you or me. If we work 36 hours straight, we're not as efficient hour 30, 35 as we were hour 5 to 10. So what we want to do is if we can allow the body to rest some by providing what it needs to heal, then the body was designed to do that job. And that's what this is about. I tell my patients, when they come in my treatment room, if I close these doors, and even if you smoke, if I put 25 smokers in here that smoke cigars, cigarettes, and pipes, could you stay in here? And 100% of them, whether they smoke or not, say, no, I couldn't. And I couldn't either. But you know what? What happens is that the cells in our body don't have a choice. We do. We can turn on the vent, open the door, or walk outside. But the cells in our bodies don't have a choice. They have to live, replicate, and die in the environment we produce for them. We control that environment, what we put in. I can't make my patients put in their mouth what they need. They have to want to do that. But I can suggest things to them, give them that information, and teach them what it can do, and share this water, and allow them to find out what it can do for them. And that's what I do in my practice. Every patient that comes in, they're able to try the water. They take some home. I show them a few demos. I let them take water home, and what happens to them then is what's so exciting, because they come back for more and more and more until they decide they want to have the highest quality possible to get it for the family. And I'm gonna let
Water electrolyzed into alkaline and acidic water has proven to be effective in many ways. In our series featuring this so-called miracle water, we look again at how this water is being used in the medical field. Athlete's foot is a nasty fungal disease and a painful condition. It is very difficult to cure. Many people suffer from athlete's foot after wearing shoes for long periods of time. But athlete's foot can be cured just by water. Do you believe that it is just water that is used in this treatment? No, I don't believe it. Do you feel any pain in the affected part? No, I don't. If this cures it, I will tell others about this. This is Kiowa Hospital. At the hospital, athletes' foot, hands, and bed sores are treated only with water. The doctor says that unless there is infection, the troubled part will heal completely. It is necessary just to irrigate and apply a bandage. The treatment of this injury caused by a motorcycle accident was just dipping it in the water for 15 minutes. Do you think the water was actually a disinfectant solution? Yes, I thought it was a disinfectant solution at first, but later I learned that it was just acidic water. How did you feel about that? Well, I doubted it would heal the injury. Don't worry, the water has an excellent sterilizing effect. The electrolysis of water produces alkaline water at the cathode and acidic water at the anode. We are using acid water with a pH value of 2.6. This high acid water kills fungus, mold, and bacteria, though that may seem hard to believe. In this laser color microscope, you can see how the bacteria actually died. The bacteria you see moving here is spirilla, which is similar to the bacteria that causes syphilis. Acid water is poured over it and it stops moving immediately. Bacteria such as spirilla and many others can only survive in an environment with a pH of between 3 and 4. With strong acid water that has a pH of 2.6, they don't stand a chance. We don't use anesthetics. We only use acid water. That's all. One of the patients allowed us to take pictures of his bed sores and how they healed. It worked right down to the bone. Bed sores, even this bad, are healed by only the water. It works better than any medicine. Electrolyzed acid water works well, especially for bed sores. We visited Akashi Hospital to look at some of the promising results. We only used electrolyzed water for treatment. No ointments, medicine, or other disinfectants were used. There's been no infection now for 2 weeks. The recovery from these bed sores has been very good. It is very surprising. It is amazing. This reporter was told that after the patients drank the electrolyzed drinking water, their feces became odorless. Despite the fact that the patients were wearing paper diapers, there was no fecal odor at all in the sick rooms. The patient recovery rate was in fact so rapid that more and more patients are getting around in wheelchairs. Because of the drastic improvements at the hospital, even doctors and nurses are taking the electrolyzed water home and drinking it. Our reporter went back to Kiowa Hospital to find out more advantages of alkaline water. We boil alkaline water to use it for making baby's milk. All the employees here usually drink tea made from boiled alkaline water. I hear you don't catch colds. No, everyone here is fine because they drink alkaline water. In this hospital, a machine from which patients can drink alkaline water was installed 7 years ago. There are people here who claim to have cured their sclerosis of the liver or diabetes, which are very hard to treat with Western medicine, simply by drinking electrolyzed alkaline water. This is Katsumi Nakanishi, who recovered from sclerosis of the liver. I drank a lot of water as I had a bad liver and it was always burning. My numbers went down and down. I am well now. Shigeru Takahashi, who recovered from diabetes, said, "I could not believe the water could cure my diabetes in the beginning. I have been suffering from diabetes for 14 years, but the alkaline water cured me." What happens inside the body? We interviewed a doctor who teaches the effective use of this water on the body. The chief editor of the Water Society, Dr. Hidemitsu Hayashi. You will have clean feces if you drink the alkaline water, which detoxifies or neutralizes toxic substances like hydrogen sulfide and ammonia found in the feces. The toxic substances will start to decrease as you drink the water, and you will have a healthier liver, the organ which has the function of neutralizing toxic substances in the body. All of the organs in the body will start to improve, and you will feel better. Many diseases, including high blood pressure, stomach ulcers, and duodenal ulcers, improve as a result of drinking this water. According to our cameraman, Matsumoto, the patient we saw at the beginning, the one with athlete's foot, was cured in 2 weeks, and the man who had the motorcycle accident was healed in 3 weeks. It is really amazing. Today we have another report concerning this miracle water. We have followed a diabetes patient who faced the possibility of having to have his leg cut off. He recovered and was able to walk again. We have more from NNN cameraman Matsumoto. Because you took up my story on your TV program, my life was saved. I can make a fresh start, thanks to you. 1.5 months ago, Mr. K. Abe, 56, cut his right toe on a piece of glass. He left the hospital where he was staying and came to Kiowa Hospital in Kobe 2 days before the scheduled operation to amputate his foot. He found this hospital through a TV cameraman. Mr. Abe says, the doctor at the first hospital told me that they had to amputate my foot and the toe on my other foot. If I lost both, I would not be able to work or walk, so I left the hospital. "20 days ago, Mr. Abe entered Kiowa Hospital. The condition of his foot is getting better day by day. At first, the feet were terrible. The color of the cells was dark. Most parts were pussy and smelled terrible. Both feet were infected with gangrene. This is the photo at the time I was first diagnosed, compared to the more healthy left foot. The bone melted and became thin. This was caused by poor blood circulation and diabetes. This was the way it looked. Reportedly, there are 5 million diabetics in Japan. Of those over 40 years old, about 1 out of 10 people suffers from this disease. Early on, you can control your calories and take insulin pills to treat the disease, but when you are seriously ill, you have to take insulin shots to control your blood level. Mr. Abe was labeled a seriously ill patient. To control diabetes, we use insulin, but to control a locally infected part, we use acidic water only. We use no antibiotics. To treat feet, medically developed water with a pH of 2.4 and 1100 millivolts of deoxidized potential is used. This deoxidized electropotential water is very effective to control local infection and granulation, but it is not perfect. So first, we want to control diabetes by dosing with lots of electrolytic resolved water every day. We think effective treatment of gangrene can be achieved through such an improvement in the patient's constitution. They say the treatment of diabetics is possible using electrolytic resolved water or alkaline ion water, both of which are available to be made at home. Mr. Abe drinks 5 liters of water per day following the doctor's directions, and he says he has been improving daily. This water makes me feel light and I'm in good shape. What kind of water is this? I asked the hospital staff to analyze it. Ordinary water is pH 7 and its resolved potential is plus 330 millivolts. An alkaline solution of pure water and caustic soda is pH 8 and its resolved potential is plus 200 millivolts. A miracle water that Mr. Abe is taking is pH 8 and its resolved potential is minus 238 millivolts. Does this water with a different electric potential have a good effect on Mr. Abe? At last, Dr. Kawamura delivered the news that Mr. Abe had been desperately waiting for. Mr. Abe asked, "Is it necessary to cut off my foot? Is it?" "I don't think so. Congratulations, your foot has been saved." "Thank you. Now I think I can work after being released from the hospital, and I'm looking forward to that. My leg would have been cut off if it would have been 2 days later. It might have been hell, but now I will be able to work again after I get out of the hospital." Dr. Hidemitsu Hayashi says, diabetes is believed to be caused by insufficient secretions of insulin from beta cells in the pancreas. In modern medical science, an active enzyme called a free radical is said to be involved in insufficient secretions of insulin. In the human body, there are neutrophils and T cells fighting against viruses or malignant tumors. What is called active oxygen is fighting. After winning in the fight against a cancer, the enzyme, which is called SOD, will decompose residuals. But if there are too many residuals, they stick to anything and damage cell membranes and nuclei because they are poisonous. It is said that diabetes is caused by this. The resolved water obtained by electrolysis extinguishes free radical active oxygen. They are released out of the body, and that is why Mr. Abe's diabetes and gangrene took a turn for the better. I used to take 16 units of insulin, but they reduced it to 10 units now. I used to take 1,200 calories, but now I can eat 1,600. I feel just fine, and as they give me more of this water, I feel better and better. On the 45th day since Mr. Abe was admitted to the hospital, I happened to witness a scene. I doubted what I saw. Mr. Abe once thought about committing suicide because there was no chance he could save his leg, but I saw him leaving the hospital and go shopping with his sandals on. I think I am an exception that I didn't have my leg amputated. Though I suffer from diabetes, I am surprised myself over the recovery. It is really a miracle. I feel like I am having a dream when I walk down the street on my two legs. It's almost like floating on air. I was really surprised that a seriously diabetic patient recovered using only water. Again tonight, we are reporting on a wondrous water. We have previously reported on other uses of this water. The water is used as a substitute for agricultural chemicals as well. Here's a variety of brightly colored fruits and vegetables. My favorite is a cucumber, but I worry about the effects of chemicals on them. Cucumbers are vulnerable to many diseases, and especially those grown in greenhouses must be sprayed often. Without spraying, only 10% of the cucumbers survive. However, we found a farmer named Toshigi who grows cucumbers without chemicals. They use water, which is not harmful to our health, but which does destroy mold. Tap water comes into this machine and is separated into alkaline water and acidic water. When the water is put through electrolysis, it separates into alkaline and acidic water. Alkaline water collects at the positive pole, and the negative pole attracts strong acidic water with a pH of 2.6. This is done very rapidly. The strong acidic water kills germs that cause all kinds of cucumber diseases. One healthy cucumber plant yields about 100 cucumbers. That is why farmers hate the diseases that threaten their crops. All harmful bacteria are destroyed on plants that are sprayed with the acidic water. It is surprising that the white mildew was killed and removed by the powerful sterilizing power of the acidic water. The difference is clear between a plant treated with the water and one that was not treated. Without the acidic water, chemical sprays would be needed. If chemicals were used on these cucumbers, I wouldn't want to eat one right off the vine, but in this case, I decided to try one. It is fresh and delicious and smells good. You can eat these cucumbers without worry, even without washing or cooking. Golf is a favorite sport in Japan. Golf course greens are normally treated with chemicals, which cause many environmental problems. Two years ago, we conducted an investigation of chemicals used on golf courses. We found that an average of 2.7 tons of 50 different types of chemicals are used each year on a typical golf course. Some chemicals stay in the soil for a long time and become a source of pollution. I am using ionized acidic water with a pH of 2.6. At Atsugi Country Club, they have been trying to reduce the use of chemicals by using acidic water. A beautiful lawn can die quickly from any one of many diseases. When this happens, it is very costly for the golf course. This golf course decided to try killing germs with strong acidic water created by electrolysis. Now we spray acidic water weekly during warm weather and once or twice a month when it is not so warm. Why does this water kill germs? Germs can't live in an acidic environment below 3.0 pH. This strong acidic water has a pH of only 2.6 and it kills germs on contact. Other features of the water also help to kill the germs. We are trying to cut our use of chemicals by 80%. Soon we hope to cut out the use of chemicals completely by using this water. The farmers who are freed from using chemicals are most pleased. Now they can work in light clothing, sneakers, aprons, and jeans. I used to be afraid to work in a hot house when I was pregnant because of the chemicals. Now I feel safe. We asked her to put on the clothes she used to work in when they used chemical. I worked in this raincoat, rubber boots, gloves, sun visor, and mask. It was hot and uncomfortable, and that made the work even harder. Alkaline water produced by electrolysis is also used to grow crops. Alkaline water dissolves nutrients from the soil much better than normal water. As a result, things grow bigger. At this time of year, farmers use chemicals once a week. By using this water, these farmers have not used chemicals at all so far, and still the cucumbers are thriving and delicious. I am sure this will be the method for chemical-free farming in the future. Because the water is highly acidic, you might be concerned about its effects, but according to the staff's experiments, the acid water changes to ordinary water in the soil. We have reported on many uses and benefits of this miraculous water, and we've been startled by these wonders.
Let me tell you about the 7 types of water, and I'm going to talk about one particular type. It is the strong Kangen water. Many people don't even know it exists, but last year I was wearing this very same coat. We had a convention in California, and we had a dinner on John Wayne's yacht. I go there, and we had dinner, and then we had dessert. Well, one of the desserts was cake with with yellow, green, and red icing on it, and somebody had dropped a great big slice of the icing in the chair. I ended up sitting on that icing and rubbing it in for about 10, 15 minutes. When I stood up, I had a place on this coat that was about the size of a saucer. So I'd ruined the coat, I thought. So I took it to the cleaners, and when I got to the cleaners, the lady said, "What is it?" And I said, "Well, it's cake icing." She looked at me real strange, and she says, "Don't you know that it's a food coloring?" I said, "Yeah, I think so." She says, "That is a permanent stain you cannot get out." I said, "Oh, okay." I said, "The coat's ruined." I said, "Can you at least try?" She said, "Yes, if you sign a waiver." So I signed the little waiver, and a week later I go back. She said, "We ran it through 3 separate cleanings." She said every time was a stronger chemical, and she said it didn't even touch it. She said, "I'm sorry, but your coat's ruined." So I took the coat back home, and I hung it up on the door thinking about, it's a shame that I just wore it one time. And then I remembered that the strong Kangen water is an emulsifier, and we have a demonstration that you may see that it removes oil. And I thought, what the heck, it might work. So I got a great big bowl of the 11.5 Kangen water, put it in the bathtub, and then I took this coat and I put the bottom part of the coat down in the water. And I went to bed, and I thought, I'd get up the next morning and I would go ahead and see if maybe I could scrub it and loosen up some of the color. Well, the next morning I got up, went into the bathroom, picked the coat up, and I almost fell on the floor because every bit of it was gone. And I'm wearing the coat today to prove it. So thank you very much.
I started drinking the water in December, and but before I started drinking water, I had to call my heart coordinator to see if I could drink the water. So she told me I could, and so I started drinking the water, and all my stats has gone back to normal, and my kidneys were bothering me, and so my kidney function has went back to normal. So I've had more energy, and can get out and do things that I couldn't do before I started drinking the water.
At the time I was introduced to the water, we had had an accident, and he fell on my leg and broke my knee. And this friend of mine that was on the water came over and says, "I want to bring you some water." And I said, "Water? I have plenty of water." He said, "No, you don't have this kind of water, but I'm going to bring you some to drink, and I want you to drink it." I said, "Okay, I'll try anything." So he brought me the water, started bringing me the water in December, and I drank December and January, and then he convinced me that we needed to purchase the machine. And at the time, I wasn't feeling the best in the world because I had had an accident also in December, a car wreck, and had a lot of neck injuries from that. But anyway, we got the machine, started drinking the water, and then I said, "I need to call the doctors to get my husband on the water. I think it will help him." So we did, and he has just done marvelous with the water. It's just been a blessing from the Lord, I tell you. So he's got so much energy now, and I've had a lot of good things to happen to me health-wise, and I don't have the soreness from being able to do anything that I used to have. I don't have that anymore, and it's just been a blessing. We're really enjoying the water.
Well, for the last 9 years of my life, I have been suffering from Crohn's. I was 10 years old when I started having symptoms, which is blood in my stools. I didn't know what it was. I've been to numerous doctors throughout the 9 years of my life that I've had it. I have been on numerous medications, Asacol, Colazol, and each doctor that I've seen has told me that I needed to take 9 pills a day. And once I figured that out, I mean, in my head, 9 pills a day, that's a lot. And I started worrying, what is it doing to my liver? What is it doing to my body? My parents didn't know what to do, so they just said, you know, take your medicine. That's what the doctors say. So about maybe 3 months ago, my parents brought home this KangenWater, which we call magic water. And I started drinking it. My parents did not know that I started to do this, but I didn't take my medicine. I started drinking it and I stopped my medicine. No more 9 pills a day, just dropped it. I wanted to see if it would actually work. And lo and behold, it did. I have no more blood in my stool. I've been on the water now for about 3-4 months. And, you know, there was a point in time where I started working 6 days a week at a restaurant, and I stopped drinking as much water, and my problems came back, along with very, you know, stressful situations, which can irritate my Crohn's. And so I realized that I needed to start drinking my water again. So I started back on it, and ever since then, I've been great. I haven't had any more episodes, no more bleeding, and I feel awesome.
Wow. Talk about the one.
That's pretty much
princess.
it.
3 days a week, and when you're 56 or 57, things hurt that don't hurt when you're 26. And so a friend of mine gave me a gallon of this KangenWater and said, hey, try this. So I did, and for 14 years I've been taking 3 Tylenol every time after I play tennis. And I drink the water for a week, and all of a sudden I'm going to take Tylenol, and there's no more pain. And I just couldn't believe that. And the second thing is more important to me is that I have acid reflux, very severe, and I've had it for 27 years. And I've been drinking this water from June 29th to July 3rd, and for the first time I did not have to take omeprazole, or I guess you guys call it the purple pill. I haven't taken it as long as it was in existence. And now I haven't taken another one of those pills since July 3rd of last year. So I'm going to share this with as many people as I possibly can.
I got involved with Enagic about a year ago. I decided to drink the water, and I'm a fitness trainer. I teach martial arts, sometimes 3 classes a day, and I've been doing it many, many years. So to now notice the difference, I'd have to say to be able to keep up with the students, especially sometimes when I have 3 classes, is incredible. I find myself, they can't keep up with me. So anyway, for what it's worth, it's done real miracles for me in my fitness program, and I'm honored to be a part of the program. I actually lost 17 pounds. My martial arts master had said, are you working out at a club or something? I said, no, I didn't join a club. I'm just drinking this water.
A year ago, my heart went out of rhythm, and I ended up in emergency. And I've been having some problems with high blood pressure, my cholesterol, and blood sugar also was out of line. I did a lot of things, spent a lot of money on supplements last year, and medications, doctor bills. And last fall we were introduced to the Enagic KangenWater. And the first evening that I drank some, I immediately noticed that my palpitations were getting less. About 2 days later, we decided we just had to have the machine. And from there, it's just been still seeing lots of good results. My blood sugar is totally normal. My blood pressure is just about back to normal. My palpitations are very manageable with drinking the water. If I ever do have problems, I just drink more water. And we've just been blessed to have this water to help us, and we just use it all the time in our house for many things more than just to drink.
Yeah, just to add, I run an 18-wheeler. I didn't realize when we started on this water, I didn't realize how I had the predicaments I had gotten into with my health. But as we worked with it, I've been able to heal my trucker's knee, my clutch knee, they call it. I was to the place where I was limping quite badly. My balance was not what I thought it was. I realized that as I've worked with the water, I've attained a new level of balance and stamina. I was down to running 8 to 10 hours a day, which isn't good when you're trucking. You need your 12 to 15 hours days. I can handle a 12-hour day. Sometimes I put my 50, 60-hour weeks in again. I'm 61. And I used to come in after a 12, 15-hour day, and my ankles were swollen, my knee was swollen. I showed my wife the other day, showed her my anatomy, and it was my knees and my ankles have cleared right up, which speaks of my heart coming back into shape and taking care of me again. So we appreciate the challenge and the privilege of working with this product. Thank you.
I bought a Kangen machine, it's been about 30 days ago, and I first bought it on testimonies that I heard from other people, and I had lower back problems, and I thought I'd give it a try, and I drank the 8.5 KangenWater for 5 days, and I noticed when I got out of bed my back pain was gone, my lower back pain, and that had been a chronic issue for 15 to 20 years. And I'd be eating anywhere from 3 to 6 Advil a day or ibuprofen a day just to reduce the pain. And since about after day 5 with the KangenWater, I have had no pain. I have taken no ibuprofen since then, and I just feel great. I know if it takes away the immediate pain, I'm believing that it's doing other positive things in my body too at a cellular level, and I'm really excited about it, and it's really hard not to tell your friends about it when you have results like that.
I've been involved with Enagic company for 2 years. I've been taking the KangenWater, and I have a powerful health testimony. I had problems with my knee. I injured it after 3 years. And I went back to work, and I had to wear a big brace to keep working. I've been a nurse for 40 years, and I injured this knee from constant walking, take care of my patients and lifting patients. So the water really helped me get rid of that brace. Everybody that know me saw that I got rid of the brace, and they wanted to know why or how I did it. So the answer was the KangenWater, and it really changed my life. My new testimonial now is a baby. I have a new grandbaby, and I give this baby the water, the 7.0 in the formula, and the baby is growing and healthy, and my daughter also got the benefits of it. She had lost weight after the delivery, and I think the mood swings and the depression is gone.
18 months ago that I first heard about alkaline water, but it wasn't until about a year ago that I was introduced to the Enagic company and their SD501 and the KangenWater. When I first saw it, I was kind of skeptical. I thought it was a little bit of a hocus pocus, a circus act, and everything else. But I saw the test that they did, and I started drinking the water. And it wasn't 3 or 4 days later that I bought a machine. I was convinced, and I started seeing some tremendous things happening to my body. I've had a lot of arthritic pain and discomfort over the years. That went away immediately. I was sleeping better, gosh, my skin started feeling softer. I had skin cancer on my arm. I grew up in Hawaii and out in the sun quite a bit, and the skin cancer started disappearing. It looked real angry. In fact, a fellow told me once it looked like a rat was chewing on my arm. And it just disappeared very, very soon. My wife was drinking the water along with me, and we started looking at it from the health benefits, and she was sleeping better. She said she'd wake up in the morning without that foggy feeling and just feeling more energy all day long. We started exercising and doing some other things that we just didn't have the energy to do. And things just started falling in place. So what we started doing is sharing this with other people and telling them about it. And by gosh, we saw people with prostate cancer getting relief from that. People with acid reflux were finding relief in just 2 or 3 glasses of water. People with COPD were drinking it for a short period of time and getting off oxygen. And people were getting rid of their pharmaceuticals and their prescription medication, feeling so much better from that. So we just continued to share the water with more and more people all the time. And then we started sharing with people that were healthy. We figured, heck, everybody's drinking water. You don't have to be sick, or you don't have to have problems to drink this water. Everybody needs to drink a good water. And we started sharing it with athletes, and we started sharing it with dancers and people that were moving around quite a bit, construction workers. And they were all seeing tremendous benefit from this. And the business just grew and grew and grew. And we found that just by sharing the water, becoming a product of the product, so to speak, people were coming to us and they could see the physical changes in us, in our attitude and our activity levels, in our actual physical appearance. And they just asked what was happening, and they wanted the water. And we gave them the water, and they saw the same results. So I encourage everyone else out there, if you haven't tried the water, try it. And let me tell you another thing. If you don't want to own a machine, don't drink the water.
I've been with the Long Island Police Department for 23 years. I'm actually a police detective out there. And as all of you know, police officers are very skeptical people. And it's kind of funny because when I first got a call about this particular machine, I just didn't believe it. Being skeptical like we are, I didn't believe that a water filter would do what my sponsor was telling me the machine would do. So it actually took me 6 months to even come out and even see a demonstration. The funny thing is I didn't want to go to a meeting. I just wanted to go to her house and show me a demo, show me what you're talking about. And the bottom line is when the demo ended in about 30 minutes, I immediately bought my first machine. And I tell you, the reason I bought the machine is because prior to that meeting, I didn't realize how bad the bottled water, the tap water, I didn't realize how bad those waters were. I had no idea that they were actually acidic in nature. But, again, even as a police detective, as skeptical as we might be, seeing is definitely believing. So when I saw that, I no longer wanted my family to drink that water that we had been drinking, so I purchased a machine. And funny as it sounds, I'm pretty much relatively a healthy guy, and I never thought about this, but it dawned on me probably after about 10 months in drinking the water. See, I have asthma, and it wasn't something that I would occur often, but I would probably use an inhaler maybe once or twice a year, depending on the weather, or maybe after some exercise. So nothing very serious, but I wouldn't even travel without my inhaler, because the worst thing is to be caught up in the air, and all of a sudden you find yourself short of breath. But anyway, I realized about after 10 months of drinking the water, I realized that I haven't had an inhaler in over 8 months. And my son also has asthma, and he hasn't had any sort of an asthma condition since he started drinking the water. And it's amazing because it never even dawned on to me till I thought about it. And here it is now. I've been drinking the water for 14 months, and I travel all over the country. I don't even bring an inhaler with me ever, and have never had a symptom no matter how much I work out. So it's amazing, but there is a lot of information out there that a lot of illnesses like asthma are caused because your body is dehydrated, and a properly hydrated body will not get sick, and I am definitely a living testament. So for really all you skeptics out there that just don't believe, take it from me, a skeptical New York detective. This water works. It's helped me, it's helped my family, and it's helped thousands of people that are out there. So just go ahead and drink the water, and you'll see yourself.
In January 2006, I had a quadruple bypass. And it turned out I had diabetes and didn't know it. I'd been taking Nexium for about 10 years at that point. Had a sleep disorder I was taking medication for. And I weighed about 275 pounds. They put me on high blood pressure medications and Lipitor and all sorts of things. When I talked to the doctor, he said I could expect to be on this stuff for the rest of my life. In April about that year, my right knee started hurting and swelling up. And after all the MRIs and everything, they told me I needed a knee replacement. That was scheduled for October 2006. I bought a 501 machine, September. And by October, pardon me for getting choked up, my diabetes was gone. My blood pressure is normal. And my knee healed itself. And I got off of all my medications. My energy levels have gone up through the roof. My constipation's gone. My hemorrhoids are gone.
I have an amazing story in reference to drinking the Kangen alkaline water. In 2006, when I actually started drinking this water, 2007, I actually started drinking this water. And about 6 months after that, I had the doctor do a report and to print out that report. She was absolutely amazed that my health had improved so much. In fact, my health had improved 100%. Also had chronic pains in my shoulder and back. All of that is gone, and it has not returned up to this day as a result of drinking this Kangen water. It has truly been an amazing success story for me. My entire family are drinking this water. My daughter, my wife, they are receiving incredible benefits as a result of drinking this water. We're so excited and thankful for the individual that actually introduced us to this amazing company and to this water.
I started drinking the Kangen water a little over 2 years ago, and although I noticed an amazing increase in my energy level, and I also noticed my sleeping habits change tremendously. Suddenly, I found myself sleeping all the way through the night, just as I was doing years and years ago. However, the greatest results that I experienced with this technology, with this water, was what happened for my skin. I had a couple of very dangerous looking spots, one on my hand, one on the back of my neck, that were getting worse. The one on my hand had been there a couple of years, and it was getting larger and larger, and I began spraying the 2.5 acid water on it, which is really good for the skin, any type of skin irritations, and within 4 weeks it had completely disappeared. Also, the one on the back of my neck that had been there about 6-8 weeks, continuously getting worse, and the 2.5, after spraying that on that spot 3, 4, 5 times a day, again within 3-4 weeks had completely disappeared. So my greatest results have been with the 2.5 water and using it on my skin. I encourage everybody, get this machine into your home, because this isn't just about the drinking water. People are getting tremendous results from drinking the water, but there are many properties as far as the many different types of water that this technology creates, and when you start to understand what those are, this is something you simply can't be without. Kangen water is something everybody should have in their home.
And I've been in healthcare for over 22 years. I was recently introduced to the water about 10 days ago. The amazing part about it is when my friend told me what I could do for helping other people. That's what I like doing. So 10 days ago, I started drinking the water. Since then, I've lost 10 pounds. My blood pressure was 155/89. It's now 130/77. So that's an amazing feat to me for not changing any of my diet at all, but just drinking the water. I think more people need to know about this water. That's what I'm going to be doing, telling a lot of people about this water.
About 4 years ago, I got very sick, and I was looking for a way to regain my health. And I started on a journey, and I learned many things. The one thing that I could not find the solution to where I lived was water. I learned that tap water, reverse osmosis water, and tap water, bottled water, and reverse osmosis water is acid. And I didn't have a solution. So I have a friend of mine that does a very special test for us, and she left me a DVD, and she said, Joyce, please take a look at this. I took a look at this, at the DVD, and it was the Kangen demo, and I realized what I had and what a gift I had been sent. So we traveled to Louisiana to take a look at this machine, and after I saw this machine and I saw what it did, I wanted to have one. Bob and I'm 61, Bob and I had talked about, when I was so sick, about getting long-term health insurance. So when we found out about the price of the machine, we thought about it, and I told him, I said, why are we investing in being taken care of in a sick state? Let's invest in our health. So we cashed in some of our stocks and we bought our machine, and that's led me to a wonderful, wonderful path. I have, one of the things that I learned on my path back to health was a special test. It's called live blood analysis. You can actually see what's happening in your blood. Well, whenever I would have this test done, I was always going, and they would say, mineral deficient, mineral deficient, mineral deficient. I was going and I was taking supplements. I doubled them, and I even tripled them, thinking that my body was just depleted. I was at the point of believing that it was my body that was not absorbing the minerals when I found the Kangen water, and I began to understand. I went and Bob and I had my blood test done. I've had my machine now for 11 months. Just before we moved, I had my blood test done again. This is the first time in 4 years I have gone no mineral deficiencies. I have had a liver challenge ever since I was in my 20s, and every time they did the test would always go and show liver stress. When I saw my blood this time, there was life, there was energy. I did not have the mineral deficiencies anymore, and for the first time in 4 years, no liver stress. The water is healing me from the inside out, and it is such a joy. I want to be able to share my story with all of you and let you know what this wonderful water does. And I thank you for listening to me, and I wish you well on your journey back to health.
So my experience with the Kangen alkaline water was actually pretty amazing. My husband came to me a day before my triathlon race, and he recommended that I drink the water. And I said, water's just water. And he said, just try it. So myself and 2 of my friends tried the water the day before the race and during the race. And I didn't prepare as well as I should have or could have, but I did drink the water. We all had our best race times. We were so impressed. We had less fatigue. Muscle soreness was almost nothing. Usually after a race, I'll come home and I want to sleep. We actually went to dinner and we had a full day playing with the dogs in the park, so it was really amazing that water is just not water.
Approximately 5 years ago, I became heavily involved in promoting some very expensive and very highly effective nutraceutical supplements, and used a lot of them on my family and got a lot of good results. And it was very expensive, was probably the downside of it. And back in August, I caught pneumonia just in the middle of the summertime. And I really couldn't understand how you could get pneumonia taking a couple of $100 a month worth of expensive supplements. And but it's that time I got introduced to the KangenWater, and really had never seen anything like it before. I knew alkalinity was supposed to be important, but I didn't know that it was the key to health. And I bought a machine about 2 weeks later, and my wife and I have 9 children. Our youngest one is 8 months. Our oldest one is 12 years old. And our 9th baby, she was born a week after we got our machine. And I'd been taking supplements for arthritis in both shoulders and in my left hip, and also taking the energy supplements. And was pretty well controlling my pain to where I had very little to no pain. Well, when we had the baby, I kept forgetting to carry my arthritis supplements to the hospital. So after a week, I decided, well, I'll just go without them and see what happens, because this water is supposed to be working to help people with arthritis. And that was September the 13th. That's approximately September the 20th. And I haven't taken anything for arthritis since. My shoulders don't hurt. My hip doesn't hurt. My hip was to the point to where that if I ran a short distance, that's as far as I could go, because the pain would get unbearable. And I just was thinking that someday I will probably have to have some kind of surgery. In regards to my family, our children, we'd been giving them supplements to a high degree for the last couple of years, and had been minimizing sickness. But we also have quit giving them the supplement. I, by the way, quit taking the energy supplement. I have energy to go all day long. I go from 6:30 in the morning to about 11 or 11:30 every night, and I am 45 years old, by the way. Our children encountered their last major sickness back in late November of '07, which was last year. And since then, we've had no major sickness. They've had a few times with just a little runny nose kind of thing, but nothing, no fevers, no stomach viruses. And that was always just a horror. When one got a stomach virus at our house, it would go through the whole house eventually. So we're very excited about the KangenWater, and I guess that's all I have to share.
I got involved in this water business 1 year, and it has literally changed my life. I drove a cab here in Atlanta for a couple of years. I got involved in the business. I no longer have to drive a cab, and that's on my financial testimony. But where it has happened with my health, it's a different story. Personally, I've had acid reflux, and drinking alkaline water for the past year, I have no discomfort from acid reflux. I sleep like a baby at night, and I go every time I eat. Therefore, my colon is clean. But that's just me. My biggest story is my wife. My wife So for me personally, it has worth every dime I spend on this machine, and it has changed my life in more ways than one. That's my story.
Last October, someone contacted me about this water, and I said no, and about 30 days later, I went down to see. I read it, looked at the information, and went down to Niceville, Florida, and saw the machine, and got some water. Immediately, acid reflux was gone in 2 glasses of water. And it's been amazing ever since. The weight loss, and blood pressure is down, and diabetes is down, energy levels going up, and it's exciting to know that I can change my body and change the way of living. And my doctor said, oh, you got to take all this medicine the rest of your life, and I said, no, there's got to be a better way. And so in essence, I see people changing, and I am just so excited about the changes taking place, and I appreciate this company and this product. Thank you.
When I started drinking the KangenWater, I had been dealing with a very arthritic condition in my left ankle, along with gout. My blood pressure was very high, and I had gained a lot of weight. And I started drinking an ounce per pound for my body weight of the water, and within 4 months, I became 100% pain-free. Within the first month, my blood pressure normalized, and after the fourth month, when I became pain-free, the weight just began to fall off. And to date, I have lost 40.5 pounds without dieting or exercising, just adding the Kangen water to my regular routine.
The Kangen water has been an amazing experience for me personally. In a period of 3 months, I was able to lose over 30 pounds, changing nothing else except my water. So truly impressed with what's happened with my Kangen water.
We started drinking Kangen water about 2 months ago. And since drinking the Kangen water, we've had a lot of neat things happen. My wife and I both have lost 20 pounds apiece. We also had some ailments in the family. I had an earache, and I used the 2.5 water in the earache, and immediately the pain stopped. I drink anywhere from about 2 to 3 gallons a day, and I went from 8 glasses to that of regular water to the 3 gallons of the Kangen water. We have a daughter that has ADD, unmedicated. And we can tell a big difference in her when she drinks the water, because we've done a little study on ADD, and she, come to find out, it's a dehydration of the brain. And then looking into that, we got her started on the water, and on the days that she really drinks the water, we can tell a world of difference. She starts asking questions as what those things do and why that does that, and what are those people doing on the side of the road when we're driving down. And I would say that's probably the most amazing thing I've seen is the difference in our daughter.
In approximately February of 2007, I got a friend from an old buddy that I haven't heard from for about 5 years. His name was Adam. Adam called me on the phone, and the first thing I said is, "Okay, Adam, what do you have?" Because Adam, I know Adam, and the only reason he would call me because he had something he wanted to tell me. And he said, "Mike, I've got this computer that I hook up to my tap water and my eyesight's getting better." So I hung up on him. It's February, it's season, I'm busy, I don't need to hear this craziness. So he called me back and said, "Oh, we got disconnected." I said, "No, Adam, I hung up on you. Don't call me back with this crazy BS." So he didn't. About 2 weeks later, he calls me on the phone. I said, "Adam, don't call me back." And he said, "Oh, but I'm outside and my son's with me and we want to see you." And I said, "Okay, Adam, come on in." Before I knew it, he had his DVD player, and I was watching this Romy fellow and his testimony, and I didn't have time. I was doing paperwork. I watched it, which was interesting, and I said, "Adam, forget it. Don't want to hear it. Got to go. I got to do a service call." Called me back a week later, said, "Did you watch the full video?" I said, "No," and then he stopped calling. Then I was wondering, if Adam stopped calling, something was up. So I looked at the DVD, and I was amazed at what this water was doing in Japan, so I researched it for 2 or 3 weeks. And I said, "Okay, I'm sold." He had me. So I said, "Adam, I want to try some water." I said, "Where can I go in Fort Myers?" And he said, "Nowhere." "What about Marco Island? What about the West Coast?" No. I said, "What, are you kidding me? Where do I have to go to get water?" He said, "Miami or Orlando, Florida." And I wasn't going to travel 3.5 hours to get water. So we had a trip planned up to West Virginia for Easter vacation, because I have 4 kids, plumber with 4 kids. And when I got back, I ordered the machine, and when I got back, my machine was waiting for me. Now, being a plumber, sometimes you get a rash. Sometimes you get a real bad rash. And I had a real bad rash over our vacation. Matter of fact, I started getting pains in my lower abdomen, and I didn't have an opportunity to get to the doctor because I thought, well, I'll just sit through it, but it felt like I was dying. So when I got back home, my machine was there. I set it up. Well, first I made an appointment with my doctor. Then I set it up and started drinking the water that Wednesday. Thursday, I went to the doctor, and it was a new doctor. I mean, I've been with the same firm for 5 years, and I've had 3 or 4 different doctors. Apparently, if the doctors don't give enough prescriptions out, they get rid of them. So a new doctor, I introduced myself to him, and he did my vitals. He said, "Geez, you have high blood pressure." And I thought to myself, I have high blood pressure? And he looks in his sheets, and he said, "You've had high blood pressure ever since you've been coming here." And apparently at that time, it was 162 over 102. But I was more concerned about my rash and the pain in my side. So he gave me a prescription for antibiotics and steroids, because I actually had some boils, and it was pretty bad. So I went home that night, made some great acidic water, laid back, and put it on my rash. The next morning, my wife and I were just amazed. 50% of the rash was gone, and, excuse me, and it was amazing. So I kept doing the acidic water on my rash, and I went back for a follow-up 2 weeks later. Went back, my rash was gone. The doctor said, hey, great, the medicine was doing well. And I said, well, I lost the prescriptions, but I was using my acidic water on it. And he looked at me kind of funny, and I told him about the machine I had. Beknownst to me, my wife made an appointment with a doctor for a colonoscopy 6 weeks later. So 6 weeks later, I get a call, and they say, oh, you have an appointment tomorrow for a colonoscopy. And I said, great, I'll be there, because I wanted to see what my colon looked like. We went in there, and the nurse came up, took my vitals, and she looks at me and my wife, and she says, yep, normal. And we looked at each other and said, what do you mean normal? She said, yeah, your blood pressure's 110/80. And I said, it can't be. And I said, take the other arm, would you? And we got into a little scuffle, because she's been a nurse for 15 years and she knows what she's doing. And I told her, I said, no, please, because I have high blood pressure. She took it again, and it was normal. So my wife and I were just, again, amazed. So I went back, I said, document that to me. Then I went back to my other physician, and I got my vitals. My blood pressure for the last 5 years was no less than 150/100. And so at that time, we were pretty much sold with the machine.
I'd like to give you a little background history on my health. When I was about 15 years old, I was hit by a car. I didn't break any bones, but I got about 150 stitches in my knee, my elbow, and my shoulder. And at that point, I started taking all kind of different pain medications just to be able to get up and down stairs and so forth. Then when I was in the military, I ended up with 2 ruptured discs, which of course automatically with the military they hand out medicine like candy. So I was on all kind of new pain medicine. Then in 2096, I had my first heart attack. In 2002, I had my second heart attack. Of course, going to the military hospitals, they decided that I needed a lot more medicine, so they gave me a lot more medicine. In 2004, I had a stroke, which put me down for about 6 months. And again, they said that I should take some more medicine, which I did. As a matter of fact, I was carrying around at work a duffel bag full of medicine. And because of the medications, I became so lethargic, I was not doing anything, wasn't exercising, put on a bunch of weight. Also, I developed diabetes and a thing called plantar fasciitis, which for you that don't know, that's basically where your arches are collapsing and severe pain in your feet. So other than that, I was doing great. So I was kind of like a train wreck. My brother called me up and said, listen, I think I found something that might be of help, because what the doctors were going to do, because with the 8 medications I was on for my heart, my stroke, it was not working. My blood pressure was like 180/120. My sugar with medication was like 300. Cholesterol was off the chart. So they were talking about giving me some kind of injections to kind of get everything under control. So he called me up and said, I think I found something. So after investigating it and having another heart attack, no, I'm kidding, I didn't, but the price almost did make me have a heart attack. And I'm sure when you hear the price, you're going to think maybe that it's not worth it. But let me tell you, within the first week of drinking this water, my blood pressure dropped from 180/120 down to 90/50. Now, that is too low. So I called up my brother, and he said, well, I think you're over-medicating yourself. So what I did is I took all my little pills and my little pill cutter, and I cut it in half. Second week, my blood pressure and sugar and everything was down still, so I took all my half pills and cut them into little bitty quarter pills. By the third week, I thought it was pretty stupid to keep taking the pills. So I ended up deciding to quit taking the medication, and I called my brother up, and he said, well, you better call your doctor. I said, right. And what is the doctor going to tell me? And he says, well, I don't know. I said, well, I do. He says, what? And I said, well, probably say I'm going to cause him to miss a few car payments. So he's going to tell me to keep taking the medication, which I'm sure all of you know what I'm talking about. So I told him, I said, look, I've got an appointment with my cardiologist in 6 weeks. I'm going to keep taking my medication like I'm taking it right now, meaning nothing, and I'm going to keep drinking the water. And when I go to the doctor, I'm going to see what the doctor says. So I go to the doctor. I don't tell the doctor that I'm not taking the medication. He runs a full series of tests, everything from triglycerides, cholesterol, you name it. And I go back into his office. He comes in. He's got a little metal flip chart, and he opens it up, looks at the flip chart, and then he looks at me real funny and looks back at the flip chart, and he has a strange look, and I said, well, what's wrong? He says, nothing. I said, well, that's great. He says, well, this doesn't make sense. He says, this looks like the readings of a 20-year-old. I said, wow. I said, well, every time I've been in here, you've always told me to increase my medication. I said, should I increase it, decrease it? You know, tell me what I should do. He said, oh, no, you should keep taking your medicine exactly like you're taking it. I said, are you sure? I said, because my brother's been very concerned. He said, no, I'm positive. I said, well, I'll tell my brother, because 6 weeks ago, I quit taking my medicine. That little man jumped out of his chair and stood over top of me and screamed at me and said, who told you to do that? And I said, you just did. He said, no, I did not. I said, you did. You not only told me, but you told me to tell my brother. And he said, well, that's not what I meant. And I said, well, I don't know what you mean, but I'm not taking the medication. He said, well, if you're not going to follow my advice, then I'm not going to treat you. And he stomped out of the room. That was the last that I've seen of him. And I'm still not looking for him, so thank you.
And let's see, we got our machine October the 27th of 2007. And my husband wanted it. I didn't. We had to go have a little private conversation because I was determined not to have it because we couldn't afford it. So my son, who's 29 years old, and he's said he would give us a down payment. And we decided we could make the payments if he'd make the down payment. And it's been amazing since we got our machine. I have fibromyalgia, really, really bad. I have been next to bed fast. My husband was talking Mayo Clinic. We didn't know where to turn. I would slide out of bed and land on my feet and barely be able to walk. And it took 3 months for the pain to go away. But as of today, 3 months, we've had the machine 6 months, and 3 months after we had the machine, I was 95% pain-free, and today I'm 100% pain-free from my fibromyalgia. I think I still have fibromyalgia, but it's under control. And I told my sister the other day she has it really bad, and I told her that she has to be real careful because there's 4 side effects that this water has, and one of them is that you sleep better. And she goes, ooh, I can handle that. And the other one was you have more energy, and she liked that one. And the third one was, let's see, what was it? You have a better feeling of well-being about yourself. And the fourth one was probably that you feel a lot better in your finances, because once you tell your story to other people, the money starts rolling in. I just got through talking to my son on the phone, and yesterday he called in the evening and said that we had 7 checks in the mail, and today he called me just a little bit ago and said we had 6 more in the mail. So we have had a hard time financially, and this has really, really helped us in our life. And we just feel like it was an answer to prayer. And